I'm well.
Great. I'm bringing you in here just to show you some of the GIS and the GIS initial ability within EnerGov, just to get your feedback on how it looks and everything else, and what information transfers over. I mean, not that you're doing a lot of that, but I mean, just to show you some things. That's it. If that's all right.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Jason, can I ask, for the benefit of
Yes.
people like me that may not know a lot about the history, how GIS has been used in the past or will be used in the future? Can I ask somebody to describe how are you guys using GIS now with desktop? Is it being used extensively or not very much? Is this going to be a big leap forward?
I don't know about desktop, so maybe someone else can answer that one.
Like Anne-Marie, or is it being used very much now?
I'm sorry, Kirk, can you repeat that question?
Sorry, I'm just trying to set the stage for the discussion we're about to have about GIS, and I was wondering if someone could describe current utilization of GIS with desktop EnerGov and expectations with enterprise. And I wonder if you might be a right person to describe that.
I believe that the GIS functionality is used with the inspections every day, but I typically don't use it that often. Veronica, are you in on this call? Do you guys use it a lot on desktop?
Yeah,
we do. I know the notices somehow get connected through there, and I think Roger knows more about that. But for day-to-day, we don't use it. The only time it would come into play is for the public hearing notices, which are not done out of EnerGov. We actually then interface with other programs to actually print the notices out.
This is Netta. If I could jump in, my desire and goal for the future is that as we input more and more information in EnerGov, that connects to our GIS and helps populate that, and vice versa, so that when people using this platform or our GIS can click on a parcel and be able to find all of the associated data with it. So all of the building permits, planning permits, fire permits, inspections, and activity on a site. And so to me, the GIS feature is integral to EnerGov. That's where we want every record to pin back to a parcel and pin back to a location, so that everything that we're inputting into the plan review module and permit review module is linked to a parcel.
Okay.
I hope that
this is Anne. I believe that was the intent too with desktop, and we just never got that far.
On the GIS side of things, what we did with the previous install of EnerGov was export records into the city's GIS so that staff could see the EnerGov records without using EnerGov at all. That's how we got around this situation, because it didn't work too well for us.
Yeah, so moving into the future, as we get more and more users on EnerGov and it becomes the platform which all of our departments are speaking to each other through, particularly for development services, that's all linked to GIS. One, to give Roger that info, but also that we have it mapped through parcels and throughout our city. This is going to tremendously help when researching in the future, if we can then go to a parcel and be able to pull all the records off of that. And then my understanding is EnerGov also interfaces with OnBase, so that when we actually take those materials and scan them, like our building permits or our planning permits, that through EnerGov you can access OnBase and then actually records up too. So that's my hope, as this all becomes very integral to each other, to be able to use it in the future.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. I think that provides a good foundation of where we are and where we want to be. And so, Jason, I'll pass it back to you to describe, show us what you want.
Okay, well, this is the map service that's the main map service for Ventura. This is what pulls up. If you zoom in closer, I mean, these are the main map layers of the parcels, city limits, and that's what I'm using to run a geo rule. So anything that pulls an address within the city limits has the district of Ventura. So that's how that's run with that. But within each one of these, parcel layers, there's multiple information. And not to go too crazy, but so this is the information that's getting pulled from the parcel layers. It's the object ID, it's the shape, it's the parcel, APN, the site address, name 1, name 2, mailing address, and it goes down. It's got acres, square footage, flood zones, fire zones. All this information is within the within the zoning parcel layers. So within these parcel layers, you can pull all this information in from that. And so for this, I just added the address, and the parcel got added. The parcel number is there. You have the ability to parcel split process, where you can split the parcel into 2 or multiple pieces. If I hit this button, this is where I just hit that globe button on the permit from the parcel number, and it dragged me right to where this parcel is located in Ventura. And so I can hit the identify as well from here. And so the identify feature is it's the parcel layer. So I get to see what's in here. The APN gets located, which is right there, and it says the address, as well as the square footage of the area and that acreage, as well as the general plan. So it's a neighborhood low, and then the GPPL comp plan is Juana Maria. I'm assuming that's maybe a subdivision. I'm not 100% sure what that layer is in the parcel layer, but it also shows the city zones.
That was a planning
And
community.
It's a general plan community.
Oh, planning community. Okay. So, but then it also shows you the different zoning layers. So this is an 100% flood zone area, as well as the urban unzoned 100%, and then fire sector 4. Now, someone mentioned something about inspection needing the GIS. Does anyone know how that's used?
I'm not exactly sure. This is Anne, but I do know that GIS is used for the inspections.
Okay.
Jason, is there an ability? Sorry, Jason, is there an ability if the inspections are pinned of where they're doing inspections for this to put together a route through IG Inspect or anything like that?
There is a way to do a route. It's like with a routing service, but that's we've had municipalities try to go about. They would have to create another layer within their map service for that, and municipalities that have used it, from what I've heard, said they're better off using Google Maps to figure out the better route for them. But and we've used this. I'll go back right here to this permit. They use the districts in the past for inspections, but to figure out what area, like let's say if one inspector's
districts like zones, basically. Sorry,
Yes.
Jason, to interrupt. Okay.
No, you're fine. You could use it as zones, and you could use it as you could use that district as zones to figure out where how they get located and how they get assigned work. That could be done through Manage My Inspections as well. But so that's how that information is seen in here as well. I just wanted to show that, and just moving forward. So we are having trouble trying to get all that information over here to the zone tab, where it could be listed, multiple different times. Like, it would tell you, it's, so if, like, for example, let me bring this one up. So it would say, it's the R16 city zone. It would say, and you could say all the other different zonings in here. So it could say, But the problem with that was some of the data that we were seeing. And so this is the city zone, and to see, and it was saying percentages. It was just a lot. It was pretty hard to try to translate all this information to make one. So like for like R1, R1A6, to get that one just for that zone, it was becoming very difficult since it came up multiple different times at different percentages. It was becoming very difficult to try to do that since all these are unique. It's 158 records for city zone, and if we ran it for fire zone or anything else like that, it was anything more than 0% was causing a little bit of an issue. So instead,
what you're seeing is the percentage of, like, for example, there's two different zones. It could be 48% this zone and 52% that zone. And that's an attribute of the parcels.
I understand that. It was just harder to try to qualify the geo rules to capture that data. That was my only issue with that, Roger. And I'm not the one who did them, but I was looking at them as well. And that's what we were running across when we were trying to figure out the best solution to that. So instead of things populating in here, we created a tab just to capture all the data. So anything that would come through would just populate here as high fire, as flood zone, as the fire sector. There was other things that were not taken account for in here, but it was easy just to transfer just 100% being, whatever was in there goes in here. And I know there hasn't been 100% solution to this. So, I mean, Kurt, I know we talked about it a while ago, but is this what we're going to move forward with for all the geo rules for every one of the permits and plans?
I can't tell you.
Okay. Well, I mean, Anne-Marie or Lisa or anyone.
Do you know?
The fire sector is helpful for us. I'm glad to see that in there. We have 6 different sectors. That was one of the geo rules, and that's what I was looking for fire. That, and then the fire hazard areas as well, but I'd like to see what's in the drop down.
Hey, Kurt, this is Veronica. Just real quickly, when you say geo rules, these are not going to be pop-ups, correct? Because we had said we did not want pop-ups.
The pop-ups are the occurrence of, so when they go in there, it's just going to populate in here. You wouldn't see anything populate other than what comes through the custom field. So you would just go to your plans details and hit additional info, and all the information would just populate in here. You wouldn't have to do anything other than just add the address.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. We didn't want the same thing that happens currently, which is, a pop-up for coastal, historic, flood zone, all these different pop-ups that we had to just keep minimizing to continue. So I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I mean,
this is Anne-Marie. Those look fine to me too as well, what's in there.
Okay. All right.
Can I see the drop down for the high fire? I want to see what you have there in the drop down. That affects
there is not
3 departments.
There is no drop down in this. This is just a memo field. So it just, when I open this up, that's all it's pulling in there. Joe.
Okay, can we have different selections? Because we have a moderate, high, and very high fire hazard area, and it has implications for fire department as well as building, and I'm not sure about planning though, or if they just want to know it's in a high fire hazard area.
So Joe, if I'm not mistaken, all of this information that it's going to be pulling over is what's already populated in there. And I think they're pre-designated with those specific zones for the areas that they're in.
Yeah, this is all the information that's coming through from the GIS.
Okay.
So the fire zone saying urban unzoned 100%. We're not changing any of the data. It's just a 1-for-1 like.
Oh, okay.
Roger, is that being pulled and populated from a shapefile of our fire zones already?
What we do is we run an overlay analysis and assign those attributes to every parcel. So if that parcel in particular was in fire zone sector 4, that's the value it's going to get. In the case of fire sectors, there are no split parcels, but in the case of the fire zone, fault zone, flood zones, basically almost everything else, you can have an option of 2 or 3 different zones. There are some parcels with 4 different zones on them. So in those cases, you'll see 4 different zones. They'll usually be in the first zone will have the most percentage of the parcel, and the second zone, second, third, and fourth. Does that make sense?
Yes. So Joe, it's being populated from what our GIS team already has as information from your fire hazard areas.
Perfect.
Hey, Jason, there's a question from Maggie.
Yes.
Maggie,
Okay.
in the comments, I'll go ahead and read it. Am I seeing that I would have to go to 2 separate screens to get parcel zoning because our data was not converted to area acreage amounts for split parcels? Can we get around to converting the data away from percentages so it can be quantified?
Let's read that.
Maggie, feel free to elaborate if you like.
Okay. Well, the first one was it looked like you were, Jason, pulling up a pop-up box to get to the zoning where the parcel had the different percentages. Was that what you did, or?
No, so yeah, I'll just start again here. So I just hit a new permit, and I'm just choosing the work class in there, and then I'm just choosing an address. You know, once is an address shouted out. I mean, I've been using the same one. I don't want to use the exact same one all the time. So let's try this.
About 501 Polite.
501 what?
That won't give him a split parcel, though, will it? Does that have split zoning? Poli, P-O-L-I.
It might have split
At the
zones.
top.
So this one just has one parcel.
Just really quick,
So
as
it's
an
right
address, 998 Church Street will give you a split zoning.
All right. What was that? 558?
998.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was a bit of a ways from the microphone.
It's coming through as one parcel, not 2. Currently.
Well, that's fancy.
Is
Okay.
that the
'Cause
Hawaiian Gardens?
Yeah,
It's
it's Hawaiian
15.
Gardens. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it's
one parcel, but it's got
201
two-
and R35.
The parcel pieces of zoning on it, Roger.
That parcel will have 2 different zones.
Two different zones. Okay.
Yeah, so if you drill down to the deep, those percentages.
So if I identify for this, it shows, yeah, it shows all the
There you go.
details for this one. So the fire zone is just 100% that says for that, but fault zone 40.46%, and then yeah, it shows the city zones, downtime is specific as well as everything else. But some of these fields aren't the geo rules being brought over. So like the fault zone is being brought over, and these are the geo rules we currently set up for the GIS information. If you want to find more, you'd have to go by doing what I just did, hitting the globe.
Okay, so zoning is pretty fundamental, right? So you're saying that zoning is kind of a secondary piece of data here?
It's not secondary. We did so many geo rules that was allowable for the in-scope that was going on. And those are the geo rules that were in scope.
Okay, then.
So how do you handle a split zone in a geo rule?
A split zone and a geo rule. So it would normally come through here as a zone, and it would just populate two zones, and the one with the most percentage, like you were saying, would be the one it would more characterized being in that zone.
Well, those are the attributes of the parcel right now. Can't you use those?
Potentially.
Because for that parcel, you do have T41, I think, and R35.
I see R35 and that, yeah, T41, yeah. And so I just want to make sure that it just gets a little tricky with the ones like this one where it says CMAP, T51.
CMAP is code for it's a split parcel. We could take that out if that's would be better.
I think it could be better.
I mean,
I got to talk to. Yeah.
The alternative is to basically just say it's only one zone, but I don't think the planners would go for that.
No, I don't think that's wise either by doing that, saying it's one zone. What it is.
We could, I think our data set could use quantifications so that we could assemble, for instance, we're starting our general plan now, and it would be nice to assemble acreages by, use and by zoning, and you can't do that with percentage this, percentage that, so it would be nice to convert those from the percentages to.
Well, you do have a square
amounts.
footage.
We've talked.
Go ahead.
We talked about that before, I think.
Well, there is a square footage for every parcel, and the percentages are based on the square footage. So it's just a simple math to figure out how many square feet would be of that parcel on R35 zone.
Yeah, but when you're doing a general plan, Roger, you aren't working with a parcel or two, you're working with 43,000.
Right.
Maybe we could, Jason and Maggie, talk about this a little more on the planning breakout that we do on Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm just making a note to that right now. But yeah, Roger and everyone else, this is, the only thing that is really pertinent to GIS. How it's used in EnerGov. So that was the reason why we were brought in, just to talk about this. I don't know if there's anything more than that. I do apologize. But anyone have any other questions regarding that or no?
I'm good. Thanks.
I don't have any questions.
Oh, all right. Well, this is our opportunity. So before moving on, we'll just make sure any other opportunity to talk about GIS.
This is Mark. This is Mark. Roger, thanks for being on. And as I look at our GIS line work, I'm thinking I see the latest line work in that the city streets appear to perhaps been parcelized already. Is that active right now in our view of EnerGov? Yes. Are we seeing individual segments as essentially APNs?
Yes, you are. I think they all start with an 888 number.
Oh, is that the decision? Awesome. So it looks like it's pretty active because I'm seeing a lot of squares at the intersections like we talked about, and it looks like it's pretty complete.
Except for a couple of weird locations, the ones that look like yellow.
Uh-huh.
They're not really, they're paper streets probably.
Got it. That's exciting. That's good to see. Thanks for doing all that good work.
No problem.
Anybody else that has any more comments or questions while we have both Jason and Roger in the room to talk about GIS?
Hey, Jason, it's Veronica. Just one thing we haven't really gone through are how the public hearing notices will work. I know the current desktop we do use, like I said, we start them off in EnerGov and use the EnerGov GIS to start it off. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to function here, and maybe that's something to talk about on Wednesday as well. But just thought I'd bring it up.
Okay, I'll make sure to make a note and bring that up and talk about that. You said it's for the mailing notes, and how do you, so when you do it now, do you do like a spatial reference to like grab all the things needed for mailers and stuff like that, or what else? How does the information get sent out or get captured to make sure?
Well, Roger may know a little bit more about this, and I don't know that any of our admin staff is on. I only know so much, and then it's taken over. Unless Lizzie, you know the answer to that?
No, I don't know how Julie I don't know how Julie gets the noticing out once the planner puts it in, but it is a report out of EnerGov.
Yeah.
The noticing is, and then it's the way that it's the addressing of the postcards that she does outside of EnerGov. I believe she uses Cove.
Liz was on earlier and she's not now, but maybe we can tackle this on the Wednesday discussion and then make sure either Liz or Julie's on the call to help fill in those gaps.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I think that could make it a little bit more productive conversation. But Jason, just one question I had was, I've heard that the GIS will also interface, or EnerGov will interface with OnBase. Could you show how that's done if there was information on OnBase linked, retrieved?
When you say OnBase, I'm understanding you. I think I heard Roger trying to speak up. I just want to make sure he gets heard as well. But what do you mean by OnBase by that?
So right now, or we are going to be, OnBase will be the database in which we scan and keep material, like once a planning project is done and we have the resolution, it'll get scanned and put in archived electronically through OnBase. And my understanding was that that platform could speak to EnerGov. So if you went to a parcel, you could link to OnBase and pull up that document, not just reference of it, but actually pull up the document through OnBase. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. So so OnBase is your data archive storage facility. Am I correct about that?
Exactly.
Just make sure.
Exactly.
So and that would bring over any legacy data, and I know that was certain worries about that as well, of bringing things over and keeping things. So what we have, let me bring up this. So things will be brought over and you can search things by address. So, and I know we even talked about this with Anne-Marie's report of anything with a certain address, you can locate it at any time. And so you can and her report has to do with pulling in description of work. Am I correct about that, Anne-Marie?
Jason, can I just
interject?
Yeah, just a second?
Yeah, interject her, but you're correct, Jason.
I think more to Nada's point is we're using OnBase. It's a separate project that's underway. We're developing it as our content management system, and documents. We're not going to be moving desktop necessarily in there, but that's going to be our long-term repository of our documents. And I'm kind of curious to see, will those two play nice together? Will we be able to access data from OnBase via EnerGov? I mean, OnBase data.
I would assume you could. It would have to be through an API, and I can't show you how that's going to look since I don't have OnBase to show.
No, it's actually
But
nowhere.
there would have to be.
It's nowhere called out in specification for this project, so I wouldn't expect you to necessarily be familiar with it yet because we haven't asked you to do that yet. But we're just curious to see. We've heard that these two applications can play nice together. Just wondering if you have any experience with seeing them actually do that.
As long as the APIs, you know, can correlate with each other, things can go back and forth usually. And
Okay.
I mean, I've seen other products of ours that have different, you know, data servers. So like they use, so instead of using like SQL, they might use Oracle. And even that, at that point, they can still talk to you back and forth to each other. It is a little more complicated.
Have you worked on any projects where they did this, where they actually did an integration with the product called OnBase?
No, I have not. I've heard of Laserfish, and
Very similar.
That's
a competitor. So yeah, so that's a great point there. So how did that work? What did that, maybe more to Nita's point, what did that look like when you were trying to get data from Laserfish?
I didn't see the end product. I just saw the API. It worked. It transferred back and forth. I mean, I didn't see how the end product was since it wasn't my project. I just saw that the API they gave over and it was able to, you know, equal to it. So I think the only thing we can do on our end to start off with is giving the API address to make, and then giving it to OnBase, and then making that, you know, relationship try to make it work.
Sure.
I think it should work as long as the API, you know, they work, they talk to each other. That shouldn't be a problem.
Does that help answer your question? They will work together as long as they can connect to each other in the back end.
Yeah, that's great. And that's fine if you don't have it, Jason. I thought maybe you might have a demonstration of it, and that's okay if you don't. Just wanted to see how that worked if you were in a parcel and then wanted to click and open up the actual scanned building permit or the scanned project plans, what that would look like. But if it can and we can do that later, that would be great.
Yeah, I can't do that right now. We'll have to bring that up, and we can mark that down as an issue or an action item to bring up at a later date. That way we can try to show whenever you guys get OnBase up and running, we can give you the API and see how it even looks after the first time it runs, just to see how everything moves forward.
Great.
Was there anything else?
Roger,
thank you. Go ahead.
I think I heard you trying to ask a question, Roger, a little while ago. I apologize.
Yeah, the question I had, it's not so much a question as a comment. I think for notification, the original EnerGov basically could only send a notification out to the parcel owner. I think in the city, we've sent out notifications to parcel owners, other people, or other units that are on the same parcel. So we sent it out by address, by parcel owner, by current resident, by business owners, by you name it. So I don't know if that's still an issue for the planners or if they're just going to send it out to one parcel, one owner. Or, for example, if there is a Hawaiian village, there could be 52 residents living there. I don't know if they need notification or only the parcel owner needs a notification. But with our GIS, we had the option to send it out to basically everybody.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be part of the discussion on Wednesday. Thank you, Roger, for that. I wrote that down.
It's good to know that capability is there. Anything else for GIS? No? All right. Well, we have we're about 35 minutes ahead of schedule. Still 25 people in the room. I think we're going to go ahead and thank Roger for his time for joining us, Roger, and we appreciate that. And I think we will go ahead and then and if there's no other questions about the morning session, we're going to formally transition from the kind of the broad general training down to the more specific training, which is building and safety department. And I don't think there's any problem if anybody wants to stick around and hang out for that session. But from this point forward, everybody, until Thursday, this is deep dive time. Up until now, we've been doing very broad. We invited everybody and anybody that's interested to come. But now we're going to really dig in deep. Take no prisoners. We're going in with the deep questions now. So, right, building and safety folks? Is that what we want?
Absolutely, yes.
Great.
Just a quick check-in.
What's that?
Just a quick check-in on the building and safety side of things. If you're looking at building and safety plans, do you think we would want to watch this episode if we're doing one of the reviews? Or would you suggest we come back later?
One of the
I think, me personally, I think this is more for us to work out the some of the stuff we're having to look at as far as the testing. But I'll let Jason and Kurt also respond.
This is anything and everything you want to talk about, Emery, and that way we can, do a complete config review of all the processes and make sure, call out problems that we need to call out, and then other things that are good, mark that as okay, and then move forward with other things. Make sure every single part of your processes function like they should, or, appear to function like they should, and then, allow for more testing.
As the project manager, what I want to get out of the next basically 2.5 days is I want to arm the identified subject matter experts with all the information that they need to answer every question that they can come up with so that they can begin testing the application with a good understanding of how it works and what to expect. That's the goal until Thursday afternoon. Does that sound like a reasonable goal?
Yes,
All right.
it does sound reasonable to me. Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask if there's any other general questions.
Thanks, Kurt.
What?
Yeah, I would agree with Anne-Marie in that this session will be helpful for building to identify is it functioning the way they expected for how to log, route, and document all of the plan reviews that they get on building side. So if others feel it's helpful to watch that, that's great.
Yeah, you're welcome to watch, but I would like to try to really maintain the focus on this subject matter experts who are going to be tasked from this point forward to do the testing.
Okay. All right.
And with
Anne-Marie,
that, we'll go ahead and transfer over, I guess, right? Begin the building and
yeah. Where do you want to start, Anne-Marie? What permit would you like to start with first, or would you like me to start something off?
Hang on, Jason. Let me just plug in my phone so I don't lose you at this point because my battery's running low. And then if you want to start, I'll be set up by the time you get started.
And while you do that, I want to just thank everybody who is here, who hasn't left yet, for coming and attending this morning session. We really do appreciate that. And you're welcome to stay and contact me personally via email if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
All right, I'm here. All right. So I just brought up building commercial permit OTC.
Okay.
Now, going through this, so this is the permit. It just goes straight to issue permit. I mean, sorry, the workflow. It just goes straight to issue permit. And then we have the trade permits. My question is these trade permits, plumbing, electrical, mechanical permit, and then are those needed? Because we have the combo PEM. I didn't know if these three were needed since we don't have any of those three in EnerGov currently.
So, I mean, we can use the combo permit like we do now and just have one, just identify if it's plumbing, mechanical, or electrical. But if it's easy to have those individually built in, that might be the cleaner way to go, having all four of those options available.
Okay, well, yeah, this is my only question so like, let's say this building plumbing permit, the only option for this right now is just for like the workflow, it just says complete or incomplete because when you do a PEM combo permit, you hit create and it creates a whole entire new sub permit. The
Right.
plumbing, electrical, mechanical don't. So if you want to if you're just doing a plumbing one and you're still going to create this, that's fine. I just, I didn't know if that was needed in the system for you guys to hold on to it. I was just trying to figure out the best way moving forward with that.
Let me ask you this, Jason. So we can keep it moving forward, which for combination PEM that's associated with the building permit, that's great because it condenses it. But we would also want to have sub permits created for just plumbing, just electrical, or just mechanical. Now, I'm open to either way though. Like we could just keep it as is as the PEM, or we could break them out.
It creates a little bit of an issue trying to break them up now, since
Okay, that's fine then. Since we're used to
it just causes
combination one.
With that.
Yeah, let's just leave it as is, and then maybe what we need to do then is get rid of those 3 items to not cause confusion.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And so I made all the inspections, being able to start. Let me hit the save. Gotta add a billing contact to this. Okay. Now that I hit saved, so I added the ability as requested for all inspections, final or otherwise, to be started and completed at any point in time. I just want to make sure we have all the inspections and there's not anything more needed, or I didn't want to go forward and, or the order of what it looks like is good. I mean, if you wanted a certain order of how you want the inspections to run. That's a long question.
Yeah, I know. What I would need to do is verify in desktop. I think they're just kind of all jumbled in there. If we can kind of get them uniform to the back of the job card that the inspectors are going to be looking at, that would be more beneficial.
Okay.
So I really will have to look at that and kind of make sure that we have all the required inspections, number one, and that the order in which they're showing is going to work.
Okay. I know we talked about earlier the TFO, the temporary certificate of occupancy. Does that create a report? Does that create like a document?
No, right now what we do is, it would be nice if it could, but what we do now is just type a Word document and add the conditions to that Word document. So, I mean, if we have to go with that moving forward, since we're already doing it, it's fine.
Okay. All right. This is how it's set up right now, and I'll create that temporary certificate of occupancy in here as well and allow that to be added at any point in time. I know we talked about that earlier today, so I'm going to add that TFO to in there. And then we talked about adding the sub permits of the fire above the building final approval and closeout.
Right.
I'm going to add those in there as well.
So let's go back to that, what we're talking about right now, the fire. So what they're saying though, and I'm just trying to think about this, that if we don't have them auto-populate like the inspections and then having to approve one before it goes on to the next one. So the issue they're having is that when people call in for rough inspections or a drywall inspection and they've gone in and our inspector goes out, finals the roughs and says, okay, you can cover everything up, not knowing that maybe perhaps fire sprinklers are required. And so then they allow them to proceed. And then at the end of the job, or when the fire is finally called out, they're like, oh no, you need to rip out all this drywall and install the sprinklers. So how can we prevent that from happening? I think that's what Joe, part of his concern was too.
It is. You're right.
No, it is. And that's what I was talking about with Joe was those issues usually get called out in the review, don't they? Like, so they, I mean, usually you won't, I mean,
Well,
the
that's
fire department usually,
yeah,
does it
those are
approve?
fire department notes, Jason, on the plans. But this is more once the plans are approved and permits are issued.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Right.
yeah.
So we've got the review portion of it handled, and we're going to handle that the same moving forward. What we're trying to do is create like a safety net at the inspection time, once the permit's issued, to try to catch that before we allow our building inspectors allow them to cover up.
Okay. The only way to do that would be doing it through some sort of priority, which it would hamper certain things. So let's say, for this example, to complete the inspections, there needs to be, if we put, let's say, something above this, let's say it's fire or fire permits, that would have to be, that whole entire step would have to be completed to start an inspection. Not even to finish it, it would have to be to start the inspection. That's the problem with the priorities. I didn't know if you want to go about that route. It's a safety net, so you can't request an inspection until they approve that there is no fire permits required. Maybe, I don't know if that's what you want to do.
So let me ask you this. Could we have, let's just say if somebody called for a rough inspection, could that trigger just a priority on that to note to the inspector, do not sign off until fire alarms or fire sprinklers installed, and stop it at that point?
You can do it. You can have a priority where you can't even request that until, so if they try to request it, it'll say, or if they even try to log it, it'll go, it doesn't meet priority, certain steps need to be taken care of beforehand. And that's how it would work. So yeah, you need almost like a sign off from fire that they could even have that inspection done. The problem with that, and I know that's the reason why we made no priorities in all inspections, was to not hold any projects up for certain things.
Right.
And
so I agree with that. We're kind of at a catch-22 here.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure you don't catch, like, you don't proceed without, caution, but at the same time, you want, I understand it's, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I don't know.
So, Merritt, are you the only one from fire that's on in this session, or do we have other fire staff?
No, I think it's just me. Joe's at another meeting and Heidi's not logged on.
Okay, so it kind of causes a quagmire for us, but I understand the need for it. So maybe it's a conversation that Joe and Ian need to have in more depth to see if they want it to just halt any inspections to be able to move forward on our end without having your guys' clearance on that.
Okay. I mean, there's no way, Jason, to even link, say, our fire sprinkler permit to the building permit, so that way the building inspector can have a status to see that the fire sprinkler permit was issued and say the roof was already done, the roof inspection?
You can't have the inspections cross between two things. So like if you're going to do like the inspections, like the roof inspection for fire sprinklers, be completed before, let's say, the ceiling inspection or another inspection in the building, it doesn't coincide like that. That's the downside of EnerGov, in my opinion, if I'm going to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
That having multiple permits and sub permits have multiple priorities. Like, I mean, when I heard it, there was one when I heard it, building residential household, that if you have a sub permit for plumbing in your house, and that's why, like, you have the plumbing groundwork here, and so like some municipalities want plumbing to be its own sub permit and building to have their own inspections, and it causes a quagmire of like plumbing's groundwork needs to be completed and inspected before, let's say, the
like an okay
foundation.
to pour foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it isn't, because they don't check each other, and that's the problem with the sub permits. And that's why, like, this one has all the combo permits built into it. So combo inspections in there. So it's got fire, it's got, water and plumbing. It's got, it's probably got some mechanical and electrical in there. That's why they're all in there together, so they can all be, watch out for each other in this standpoint.
I see. Yeah.
So what about, Merritt, so the only other way I could see this working is if we couldn't final it before, but then we go back to the point where they've covered everything up and they need sprinklers, we're back to square one.
Right, because then basically they have to rip everything out, and that's
right.
what we're trying to prevent.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
So Jason, just so I understand it, if we prioritize the inspections, then theoretically it could work with fire having to clear an inspection before it can move forward. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes. So I'm trying to think of this. What I was thinking was putting fire permits in between trade permits, or adding it to the trade permits. So fire would have to, double make sure that it's not needed, and the fire permit isn't, a sub permit isn't needed to move forward. And you would have to almost wait for, let's say, it to be issued or started or completed, depending on when that happens, before you could even do any inspections. And that's the problem with it. I couldn't just choose a couple. It'd have to be all of them.
All of them.
So then on that too, but that's not visible. With the iPads and stuff the inspectors will be using out in the field, is this workflow going to be visible, and will they see, oh, look, there's supposed to be a fire sprinkler plan with this? Or is that not visible from what they're going to be using out in the field, the inspector module?
The inspection module, they can see some of the workflow, and so they can look at other inspections that need to be completed. About the plans, I think they can see some of them that are review plans. They can see those. So yeah, if they do see that, then they should be able to say, hey, we can't even complete it out here. They should be able to see that on the plan. But that's
But then they could miss it too.
Yes.
That's part of the big issue. It's on the plans now and it gets missed. And so, okay. Maybe you can, I don't know, maybe you can give me the options that we have, and then we can present that to Joe and Ian and then let them hash it out.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now that so this is just for OTC. I just want to make sure about that. For that workflow. And moving forward to the certificate of occupancy, temporary certificate of occupancy, and then the final approval and closeout. You're okay with just that final step after that, and we're done? I just want to make sure we're good.
And we're gonna do that across the board though for the temp CFOs for all permit types except for plumbing, electrical, mechanical, right? Okay.
Yes. Are we okay with everything in the description of work? That's what I want to make sure. Is there anything need to be added or subtracted?
No, I think this looks good. I'm okay with this tab right here. I think it's fine.
Okay. And if you want things moved around as well, please let me know. I can move things around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you know what? When you were creating that test permit earlier, 0013. If you want to bring, because earlier this morning, when you were showing examples of how to create a permit and then you put valuations in, it was permit, I think it was a PEM permit 0013.
Okay.
I just wanted to point something out to you about that before I forget.
No, you're fine. And you said it was a PEM?
I think that's what you created this morning at what I think It was a PEM.
All right, let me
Because you
check.
plugged in some fixtures. I'm pretty sure it was a PEM.
Yeah, okay. This is 220003, so make sure. That's not good. Hold on. All right, forget that one. Hold on one second. Let me just save this. I'll bring it up in this one since. There's 03. Okay.
I don't know why I thought it was 13, but maybe I was wrong.
So this one was done in 10/9/2019. Let me try again. Or you said it was 003, right?
I thought it was 0013.
Oh, 13. Okay, my bad.
No, I don't see it. Did you save that one from earlier today?
I might not have.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this is probably it right here. This is a building commercial permit though. But this is
Oh,
the
okay.
one.
Because it was when we were in the HTML screen and you were adding fixtures and.
Oh no. I didn't save any of those ones. I do.
Okay.
Apologize.
Okay.
I didn't save
So this is the thing with all of our plumbing, electrical, mechanical permits.
Mm-hmm.
They're all fixture based, and we don't calculate plan check fees on those. The plan check fees are incorporated into the fixture count.
Oh,
So
okay.
is there an ability to disconnect or turn off the custom field or the fields of valuation and square footage?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
That's for PEMs.
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
For all PEM types, I don't want anybody to be able to put in valuations or square feet.
Yeah, I can do that right now for you. I'll show you right.
Cool.
Right here. Come on. Permit type. So this is the setup screen. This is what the configuration of everything looks like in the back end. How we attach all the different custom fields and work classes. So right here, OTC valuation control off, square feet control off, and so I can hit save there. And so that's how that's built. And this is how the case type numbering system works for the PEM. You know, and then it has, this is the permit prefix, and then these are the days until expiration, 365 and 365. Please
let me ask you
check
this.
That's correct. I just want to make sure.
Okay, let me ask you this, Jason. Are we as SMEs going to have, right now, like as an administrator, I have the ability to go in and I have systems set up like this? Are we going to have those same abilities, or?
I think certain people will have that ability. And if you are the SMEs, and yeah, I can give you that access to do that. I just want to make sure, you know, what users can do that, and also to check that you can do that in the future as well.
Okay.
And so whenever you guys get access to the VPN, yeah, please let me know if you guys can see that.
So now my dates to expire, technically we give them 6 months, which is 180 days. And then with every inspection, it extends it 180 days. I think we should stick to the code on that. Sometimes we give them a year, but I think that should be arbitrary in case we have to expire a permit.
That's fine. That's updated. Now I have to do the 2 other ones that are like this.
Okay. And that looks relatively easy to switch out, huh?
This is not the most difficult part. The other configuration to this gets a little bit more hairy.
Okay.
Trying to do like fees and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I know you brought that up with the different fee amounts. And the main reason why a lot of the fees are wrong is because we were given the fee schedule for building, and for every single thing was for 2018's fee schedule.
Right. That made sense after, and I realized that we were looking at the 2018 fee schedule.
Yeah, and that's how I was trying to explain to Kurt, and I was like, I think we would end up losing a lot of time just trying to update all of them currently. And then until because you guys will have the new one right before you guys go live. Am I correct about that?
Yes, we usually adopt fees on July 1st. So that goes to the question of how many fee schedules are we going to have available in Enterprise? How many can we go back? Are we able to go back 3? Are we able to go back 2? Or have that? Because all of our fees are based on application dates.
Okay, so fees work like this. I'll show you what a fee looks like in our configuration screen. Just if you want to just pick any fee, and then that way I can just pull that up and I can show you. I don't know what you're thinking.
Oh gosh, plan check fee. Electrical plan check fee. How about that?
I don't know if there's just one for electrical plan check fee. I know there's a plan. Oh, there, OTC plan check fee. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me delete that. So right now there's one fee schedule in here. You can add as many as you want to. And that's how it works. So and to do that, you would have to add fee schedules. So let me put this fee schedule in here.
So when we give you when you get the new updated fees as of July 1st, we're going to have the existing fee schedule that's in there and then the new one?
If that's what you would want, yes, we can do that. Right now it's a jumbled list of certain fees from 2019 and 2018 all in one. And so that's the little bit of the problem right now with the 2019 fee schedule, or the one that's currently attached to all the fees, because there's some fees that are 2018 and then some of them are 2019, depending on when people were checking them and updating the fees.
Right.
So we could put them in there as that we could leave that one where it is and create a new fee schedule. We can do that. And so this is the start and end date, and so you can choose when the fees go into effect.
Okay, so then we can have multiple fee schedules, and based on application date, EnerGov will know to pull from those fees. Because that's how desktop does it right now.
Does it? So when you're saying the fees, I just want to clarify. You're not adding any more, correct?
No. So my fee schedule for let's say 2017. I still have applications that are valid and can very theoretically be issued. So when I go to add fees to that specific case, let's say they've gone through a couple rounds of plan check, I need the fees to pull from 2017, the fees that were applicable at that time, because those are the fees that'll go with that application. But I still also need application dates, that are submitted today to have the most recent fees, which would be the 2019 fee schedule.
Okay. Yes, that's the way it should run. If that's the way it runs in desktop, I'm assuming that's the way it runs. I was just afraid you were just going to add you're adding, a bunch more different fees in a different plan case to a planning module.
Oh yeah, no. They're established fees. They're just established from previous fee schedules. Yeah.
But yes, and you can, and so you would set the dates when you want to come over. I know there is this other, like the cost percentage index, so you can raise your fees, like let's say every year by a certain percentage as well.
That's what we do.
I think it's CPI. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So the CPI type, so you would just create this CPI type, and so just for an example, and so you could do additional, and then you would just add this schedule. I don't know why it's not doing that. So what it would do, you could just raise it every couple months. Like, let's say it was raised 6 months, the rate's 2%. After that, it's raised another 2%. That's how the CPI works.
Uh-huh.
So it's
So
not
question
used
on
a whole
that.
lot. What?
So a question on fees and fee updates moving forward, just out of curiosity. Right now on desktop, when a fee changes, we have to go into every permit type where that fee could be and change it in that permit type. Is that the same setup in this new enterprise?
It is, unless every single fee is getting the same percentage increase.
So you're saying that if we say we're going to increase all of our fees by 3%, then it makes it a lot easier because you can just go in there and say change all fees by 3%.
It would be in the CPI, yes. So it's like, let's say
Yeah.
every year in July 1st, starting July 1st, every fee gets a 3% increase. Yes, you could do that. It wouldn't create a
Okay, but
different.
now
That's
let's say
the
that
problem.
not all fees are going to go up by 3%, maybe just a handful. Then we're basically having to go into each permit type that has that fee and having to manually update that.
No, so that's what I was trying to say. Like, there's multiple different CPIs you could create. So,
Oh, okay.
So you could create like 5 different CPIs. So let's say one's 2%, one's 4%, one's 5%. Not many municipalities use this, but yes.
So how do the other municipalities move when they're adding fees? How do they do it?
They usually either have dedicated users on their side who are
go in and
admin
update the
types,
fees.
go and update the fees all by themselves. Or for some smaller municipalities, you don't have enough time to do that. There's a thing called EnerGov Assist, which is a different department within Tyler that takes on smaller projects. Yeah,
Got it.
I mean, and so like they
kind of
also
similar to the way we do it now.
And Anne-Marie, this is something also that's going, our EnerGov sysadmin will be able to help us with.
Okay, cool. So, and just so I'm clear, Jason, we can have 3 fee schedules running concurrently in this version, if need be.
Yeah, so each fee schedule would have to have an end time, but yes, so that those fees that were attached to that permit, they're not going to change since they were assigned to them at that point in time. They wouldn't change. And that's what you're saying.
And then when you say they have to have an end time,
so like for this it ends in 2021, and so if I were to choose, I think the problem becomes if let's say I would choose that date, it becomes an issue if this fee schedule starts at the exact same time as this, and so you have overlapping fees, and it's hard for it to pick which fee schedule it is, like for that same fee.
So, and that's my question. So because we are going to have overlapping things like that, where it's because all of our fees are based on application dates. So how is that? And maybe I'm just not understanding what you just said. So let's say that, like I said, we submitted in 2017, and all the fees for 2017 fee schedule are applicable to this one application. And let's say the application date is 6/5/17.
Okay.
But then the fees change on July 1st, and we get the 2018 fee schedule, but that application is still active and still current. So we're going back in now and adding more fees to that, but we don't want the 2018 fees. We still want those 2017 fees.
I think the way EnerGov works is if you're adding more fees to it, it would take whatever fee schedule's out there now. But you can alter the fees. You can lower them.
No, I know. I'm curious because in desktop, it's based on the application date, and that's what I was thinking too. It would be based on moving forward. But do you know for sure that that's not how it works, or are you just kind of guessing right now?
I'm not guessing that. I mean, that's how I've seen it. We'll test it out, and I'll show you. I'll do a test, tonight, and let's say for that example, and I'll give you a defined answer tomorrow morning. So telling you, no, you can't do this. This is what you can do.
Okay, all right. I just want clarification on that because that would be a whole new training thing that we'd have to incorporate moving forward to really train our staff to look at those fees and make sure that we're actually charging our applicants the correct fees.
Gotcha. Now, I know we just diverted away from everything about
I know,
but
sorry.
it's all, no, it's fine. Now, I know we talked about combining the plan checks and the permit PLCKs or the plan checked permits. Has there come to a decision on that? I just want to make sure.
I'm trying to remember the pros and the cons to that, because it was something about what we bring over from our current desktop moving forward, right? That's the reason we kept the PLCK versus the way it's set up now in this version.
Yes, yes. And when I talked to Brian Tung, he mentioned so it would be the plan version of and check over there like that, not plan,
right?
What gets created over there. And so that's what this would just be. And he was saying anything that's active now in desktop would still use this status. And so you would create, and I know it says create sub permit. It's really not a sub permit. It's just you're creating the commercial permit. You're creating the commercial PLCK permit. That's what it means. And so that it would just go right from there. But, and he said anything new he would like for, if anyone new was applying for a new commercial plan check permit, that it could come through just this. It would avoid that whole entire process because it just creates a lot more numbers out there of tracking things and linking things together. And that's what they're.
So I know we discussed this, and what the pros and the cons were. If you bring it over as a PLCK, then you would have to create its own workflow, right?
I would have to alter this workflow right here and add in the review part to it, and so and the intake of it. So it wasn't a whole lot, since I mean it was just pretty much everything from. It was just sorry, that's the wrong one. No, there we go.
So what happens if? Will it convert into the new process and workflow, or do we lose everything? I guess that's the huge question.
Well, and that's the idea. I mean, Brian said once all these get brought over, you could just hold on to these, and you don't have to ever use the plan checks again. You know, you wouldn't ever start a new one,
right?
And you wouldn't lose any information since this is just all the planning information. All the plan information would just get brought over in here, but
okay.
I'm sorry.
So right now, everything for building and safety, when we review a plan, is done in the plan module. Moving forward, everything's going to be done in the permit module. So if we take everything that's in the plan module existing and move it to the new permit module, will we lose any of that data moving over, because you're talking about two different modules now?
No, you wouldn't lose any data because the plan and permit modules, they're very, very, very similar in the new enterprise. There's not much difference to them. I mean, I'll bring up the plan details. It looks very similar to everything that's needed there. You can do all the workflow actions the same. And I mean, everything that's there is the exact same in the.
So, and I was absent during those conversations with Brian and Yolanda. So I'm just trying to understand why they were trying to go in that direction, if nothing's going to be lost coming over, and what are the pros and cons of either or?
Sorry. The first part, why they're bringing everything over to the permit module is what you're saying?
No. So I wasn't involved in the conversations with Brian and Yolanda, and I know that their idea was that anything in the existing system that we have, the desktop version, that they wanted it to come over under that PLCK. And then the sub permit would be created to have it, I guess, for the tracking in the new system. But if you're saying that if we transfer over all that information from the plan module to the permit module moving forward, we're not going to lose the data. So I'm just trying to understand why they thought they needed to go in that direction. And I think you were involved in those conversations. And why not just move it over into the permit module and keep moving forward?
Okay, I know what you're saying now. Okay, so the reason why was because, so there's 3 different types of, let's say, commercial permits. There's the OTC, the PLCK, and then the one called plan check. And their idea of bringing everything over, and the reason why having it stop at some point and other point, they wanted to make sure that the plans, since they're separated now in desktop, you know, you have your commercial plan, and then you have the, you know, the PLCK, which is, you know, the plan checked permit. They're 2 different things, and they want to make sure whatever, so anything you guys are doing now that it comes over in a plan, it looks like it's similar in a plan, but it's in the permit module. That was the only difference to it. And anything that's in a permit, you can still bypass certain things where, I think I just confused you. I think I lost you. Sorry.
No, you confused me a little bit though, but because the PLCK, that's our nomenclature. We just created that, and just to differentiate between something that needed to come in for plan review versus something that we looked at over the counter.
Yes. So, and the OTC is the over the counter. Yeah.
Correct. So we had the PLCK and then we had the OTC. So I guess that's where I'm missing the reasoning behind Brian and Yolanda's process on why they wanted it to go that direction. Like, am I missing something critical that I'm just not grasping, that they wanted it to go in that direction? Or just bringing it over to the permit module is going to have all the information we need, and we don't need to have this added step or this added thing to confuse the end users?
I think majority of the reason why they brought everything over, including the plan reviews, over to the permit side, was for the additional info. So currently, in, let's say, a plan, you can have the exact same custom fields, and when you create that sub permit, all the custom field information, it doesn't transfer over to the new permit. You'd have to re-enter every single one of those custom fields in again. That was the reason why.
Got it.
And I think
so. That's the critical piece that I was missing.
Yeah, and I think Nita was saying earlier that, you know, all the, you know, everything fire, public works, and building, they moved out of the planning module just for them. The planners, not the planners, but like, you know, the planning department, they're the ones who own that module only, and it's exclusively just for them. And so they have permits in that side as well. Like the planning department,
right?
There's you know, temporary conditional uses permits, and they're not in the permit module. They're in that planning module for that reason, because they only want to touch what they touch.
So I understand it now. So the critical piece that I was missing was that by bringing it over into the permit module, we lose all of the additional info tabs, and we'd have to manually enter all that information.
Yeah, if it stayed in the planning, yes, that was the reason why.
Got it. So then we would need to then create those and have it come over as that type for the ones that are in desktop existing.
Yes, and that's what. And my only question now is, with this PLCK, do you want to go the route of anything new, just having the review process with it? That way you don't have to use that plan check one anymore. So once all of those get completed, yes, okay.
Yes.
All right. So,
now I understand that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna add reviews, and I'll show you the couple of the steps I'm gonna add. So these are the steps I'm gonna add to all the PLCKs application completeness check, and then just the building review. And those are the only two things coming over. These two options don't need to come over, since this step would just be issue permit, and then it would be trade permits below that, and then you'd have your inspections.
So let me ask a question on this part that you're bringing over. So what if they're active, and let's say that they're out with corrections, but when they come back in, they still need to be reviewed by fire, by land development, by structural, all these different reviewers still. How is that going to be addressed if we only have those workflows?
Oh, so anything that we're bringing over from desktop, we're still going to make them come in through. So any plans that are any building commercial plan reviews will still come through this plan check one. This will still have to be used until that happens, and so this will still be used. This building review will still be used. I'm not going to remove this or destroy this. It's still going to come through here.
I guess this is where my confusion is, because you only have building review. Will it have land development review? Will it have fire review? Will it have planning review?
The building review is just the name of the submittal, and so I'll save it right here so I can show you what all the submittals look like. See, this is right now, it's got priority. It wouldn't let me move ahead without that application completeness check being completed. So right now there's 0 item reviews, but so these are all the item reviews you can add to it. So you can add building and safety architectural, the CA. So like you can add all these ones to this building review. And I didn't know how many you wanted defaulted for this submittal type for the building review.
Okay, so I get it. So I guess that's part of the question too. So would I have to, so if it went out in the previous system and all of those reviewers had comments from those different departments, those are going to be carried over too?
Yes, yeah, anything
so
that
then
comes
would it
over.
Would then it autofill showing it red instead of green, that these are still outstanding? Or is that what you're saying, we'd have to use that drop down for and add planning again, add public works again, add fire again?
I was adding those because it's a brand new one. What I was thinking for this, so right now I'm going to bring up this thing called, it's the submittal tab. And so this is what the building review is. And I'm going to show you, so there's a building review for commercial and a building review for residential. Actually, that's BMT. So this is what it is. So these are, wow, that's not it. I'm sorry, hold on one second. Not what I thought it would be. Hold on. Go look at the workflow action to see what exactly submittal type that it actually is. I want to make sure I have it. Okay, there it is, BLD review. So these are all the different item reviews that are associated to this building review from the questionnaire that was given to us. When I say defaulted, what I mean is when you're intaking a brand new permit, what are all of these item reviews required for every single plan check? That's what I was saying.
No, they're not. And so we would want the ability to pick them.
So you want to pick them on every single one, because that's what you have now. So if you were to fail these, only the failed ones would show up. That's what you can also set up, or you can make the same ones, first one show up. We can set that up. That's not an issue. But so you have to go in here and you want to choose the whole entire list every time. Okay.
Right, because it could be hit and miss. But the one that we definitely want we want the application completeness check to default to that, obviously, and not to be able to proceed until that's cleared. Kind of how you have it set up right now. And then I think the only one that so if it defaults, does that make it a priority and you have to clear it before it can move on to the next one, or can they be concurrent?
So for the reviews, all the reviews have to be completed before, unless you make it no priority, where the way the building review works. Okay, sorry.
We don't want priorities on these either, because they all run concurrently, or they can run concurrently. And we want.
No, none of these are priority. I was just saying the whole entire process of the review is priority.
Oh, good. Okay.
Priority.
And I guess that's where my confusion comes in.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's because I'm so used to seeing the workflow and the reviews in that column where you have the building review. But now I have to remember that they're actually on the right side of the screen, and that's where everybody does everything.
Yeah, and there's zero priority to any of these. Anything you add for these reviews, no priorities. I just didn't know if you wanted anything defaulted. So let's say when you open it up, it's always fire, it's always building and safety, it's always a couple of ones, and then you add the rest. I didn't know if you wanted that.
I would always, you can, let's just default to building and safety architectural, and that way we can go in and add the rest.
Okay. I'm just going to auto add building and safety architectural. I'm just going to save that.
And those look pretty easy if we decide as we go on. It looks pretty easy to be able to go in there and decide we want to default to some more.
Yes. It's pretty easy. I didn't know, how many you actually wanted to default, since it seems pretty cumbersome, because you can't add multiple at one time. That's the issue with this. And so I didn't want you clicking and clicking.
It's what we do now. So it's not, for us in building, it's not going to be anything different. So I think we'd want the flexibility. I mean, because either we have to delete them individually if they're auto-filled, right? Or we add them as we need them.
That is true.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and then is the given time period in there, I mean, I believe the submittal type is days until due is 15. Is that correct, or do you want to change that, or make resubmit days changed, or all this stuff can be moved around?
Okay, so and that looks like it too. It would be something easy to do if you have admin rights. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So days until due. Let me see. 15. I'm going to check on that. We don't really use that, but I don't know moving forward, since everybody's going to be on this system, if that's something that we're going to utilize more. So I'll have to ask.
Okay, that's not a big issue at all. Are you only going to want to copy over failed items, or, I mean, you can always add them even if not, but I didn't know if you only wanted to add over. So let's say these 3 all failed. Yeah. And you had like 4 other ones pass. When you create the new one, these 3 would automatically populate. No matter what happens, these 3 would populate and go, hey, you failed these 3. They have to be looked at. But the other ones wouldn't populate that you passed. You could always add them, but they wouldn't automatically pop up. I don't know how you feel about that moving for like the version 2 or version 3.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, so if they were to populate, even if they passed, is there like a color difference? I mean, I see where it says completed date. Like, so right now on the desktop version, if they pass, it's green. And so we know, looking at the workflow, that, okay, yeah, planning's done, and if they have corrections or they failed, they're red. Is that and I see the application completeness check is green, but that's the overall review. So what does it look like as far as, let's say if you pass building and safety in this one, and then you had a correction for public works, what is the final product look like on that?
I'll show you. it doesn't change any colors at all. And so this will be turn red here in a second after it refreshes. It's taking a little longer. So this normally just changes red, but so like it would just turn to that. But it not the individual ones don't change. That's the problem with that, Anne-Marie.
Jason, Ann lost connection, so she's dialing back
Okay.
right now.
No worries.
Thanks for letting us know, Merritt. So, hey, we're about 10 minutes away from 3. Jason, would that be a good time to take a break?
That'd be fine. Yeah, I can re-up on some more coffee.
Very good. Very good. So why don't we wait till Anne-Marie gets back, and so she won't think we all bugged out on her. So maybe we'll go. Well,
How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Is everyone safe? Everyone healthy?
Yes, we are in my house.
It's good.
Yeah, I think so.
Hello? I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened. Okay, so,
just a quick.
but I lost them.
Just a quick one.
I might have lost the meeting.
We're gonna take a break at 3 o'clock, okay, for 10 minutes, just to let you know.
Okay, so actually I have to log back into the meeting too, because I lost that too. So, maybe could we take a break right now?
Sure. Is there? Yeah, great. So it's perfect. Why don't we come back and start again at 3 o'clock?
Okay, great.
See you all then. I'm gonna leave the meeting up. Nothing's gonna change. Just gonna step away.
I'm just pausing, so it's okay.
Okay. Jason, do you need to talk to me at all between?
What was that, Kurt?
You need to talk to me at all between?
If you want to give me a call, yeah, give me a call.
Okay. I don't have anything in particular to talk about, so I just wanted to let you just to remind you that I have to step away from 4 to 4:30. That's it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Give me a small chat. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna mute my mic over here.
Sure.
I'm gonna give you a call. Is everyone still there?
I'm here.
Okay.
So I think that since they don't turn colors, Jason, that maybe we should only carry through the ones that are still pending so we don't confuse people.
Okay, that's fine. That's what it's set up right now as.
Yeah.
Anything that it fails it or, you know, it requires a resubmittal will always populate again. And then if you need another item review, you can.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Mary, how does that sound to you? Do you think that would confuse everybody since they don't turn green or red? If I'm thinking that if we have everybody up there, even if they're approved, they'll think that they're required and it'll just confuse the issue, yeah?
You're thinking about, are you referring to the status where it says requires resubmittal?
No, I'm talking about like, so you know right now when we in our case workflows, we can update and you can turn it red when you still have outstanding corrections.
Yes.
And it's green when you approve it.
Okay.
Well, we don't have that ability. So right now, do you see on the screen where it's green and it's red?
Yes.
On the left? Okay, so that's the overall plan. That's not specific to building and safety. So all your reviews and stuff are being done in the right portion of the screen.
Okay.
And those don't see where it says fire hazmat, for instance. Okay, so if let's say you guys had comments, you would not approve that, and you would require your resubmittal there. But it stays black; it doesn't turn colors. But if you approve it too, you would approve it. So I think it's going to confuse people if we have them show up over and over and over again, even if they're approved, and that we should only have it populate there if there's outstanding corrections. What do you think?
I agree, because once they're done, then that way it's just confusing if they keep seeing their name in there. They're going to think they have to go in there and do something. Yeah.
Right. So this will give people a really quick glance of the outstanding reviews that are still pending corrections and not necessarily approved ones, which aren't a big deal because people don't really ever want to know who's approved it. They want to know who's remaining.
Yes. That's
okay.
correct.
So, let's just have it go the way you have it, where it just populates Jason for the people who have outstanding comments.
That's fine. I can do that.
Okay.
No big deal.
Hey, everybody, just before you get back into it, I just want to interject and let you know I have a 4 o'clock meeting with the EnerGov steering committee. So I'm going to pop out for that about 5 minutes before. Don't worry, this meeting will continue to run. I'm going to be doing it on a separate computer. So I'll just kind of disappear and then I'll come back. So that's what happens at 4 o'clock if I'm disappeared.
Thanks, Kurt.
Sure, it's only half an hour, so I'll be back in 30 minutes.
All right. Now that we got that one taken care of, I don't know what part of this permit you want to move forward with, or what permit you would like to talk about that you see issues with it. I know we talked about earlier today about the square footage and the valuation, having that values in there.
Yeah, I was confused by that. I tried that category drop down. What is that?
It's just a category. It just helps you, like, you can make it, and so instead of it being length times width, you can make it, twice as much, or half of less. You can alter the square footage of how that works. So it's like the value for the square footage is I don't know, it's a home on the beach, it's twice as much or something like that. That way people can charge more for certain square footages of homes. It's all depending on how you would use it.
Do we need to use it? I mean, it wouldn't let me save it without it. So I wanted to use the calculator basically, because right now in desktop we use the calculators for square footage and the calculator for valuation, and that kind of locks it in, and then that helps to calculate the fees, right?
Yes, yeah, you can do it like that. Yes, yeah, that can easily be done that way.
I guess I was just confused when it says categories. What categories are there to choose from? Would be like just building and safety maybe would be a category, or?
You can do that, or you can just, if you want, you can just put calculator if you really wanted to. I mean, it's
okay, it's hard. I'll have to look to see if it's really hard because I don't have access to desktop or enterprise. So I don't know what's in there right now on the desktop version. But okay. I think it's just building and safety, but I'll have to check that though. So valuation calculator.
Okay, I mean, whatever name you want for that dimension category, we can put it in there. I mean, I don't think it's gonna make a whole lot of changing of how that works.
Let's just call it building and safety.
Building and safety? Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's what's in desktop right now. Like I'm 99% sure. I was just confused. I thought, oh, is there supposed to be a drop down here?
What is it that you want to check in? I can check the desktop.
Oh, can you? So go into any permit and then click on the calculator for valuation.
Okay, let me check. Do you want me to check the fire permit just to see if it pops up on ours?
No, it won't, because you guys don't do it by square footage. You need to check a building permit, a commercial or residential.
Okay, hold on.
Or you can even create a new test commercial or residential and then see what the calculator, or either or, find one that's existing and then just hit edit and see what it gives you as far as option in the valuation calculator.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry. I just had a sneeze. I apologize.
Oh, bless you.
All right, sorry. Let me try to open it. It's thinking.
No, it's okay. I walked outside and I got attacked by pollen.
That's how it is over here too. It's really windy.
Yeah, it's so slow. Okay, there we go. Okay. Come on, EnerGov. Okay. It's just so slow. Sorry about that. I'm trying to open the calculator right now, just thinking. Okay, I think my computer froze. My laptop. Okay, let's see. goodness. Okay, so if you go into the permit, on the top end, all it says is dimensions values. So it doesn't
So like
say
if
anything
you
about.
if you select that, does it give you a drop down? I think it says building and safety, doesn't it? In the
Yes, so you do add, and then it has a drop down with building and safety, driveway, curb and gutter, standard street, trench, sidewalk.
okay. So Jason, public land development will be using this too. So I'm assuming they use it. So maybe we need to include all of those. Can you read them off again, Merritt?
Yes.
Oh, wait, let's back up. Let me back up on that. So it's the same. Jason, are those drop downs the same across all permit types, or can they be different in each permit type?
For all permit types, they'll be populating.
The same.
Okay, so then we would have to have one for curbs, driveways, I guess, whatever they had in there.
When I look at this though, so I just brought up the permit dimensions category setup and I hit new. There's nothing else other than just the name. It doesn't do anything else different.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's why I don't know if adding all those ones in there would be wise or not wise, but like, I mean, I can put, public works or land development as one of them, but it doesn't, I don't think it would change how much how much everything, if you're multiplying 12 times 2, it's still going to be 24. Right.
Yeah, no,
if you choose building and safety or land development.
Okay, let's at least put land development in there so that it at least, I don't know why that was set up that way before, but at least we cover them.
Okay. And then the valuations group, so like the valuations calculator, it's currently built off of 2018's model. So like the valuation here, it has the factor of the square footage. That's how it's populating it.
Right.
I can bring in, whenever that 2020 comes in there, I can bring that in there if that's what you guys are going to use. It's fine. That's no big deal.
Yes, we will change fees as of July 1st. So, and again, we're going to need the ability to have both fees calculating.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. This one becomes this one's got an expiration date and effective date. I got to see how that operates. You're saying, okay, June 30th, I'm going to make this the cutoff for this code violations calculator. Okay. All right, that's fine. I'm going to have to talk to someone about adding in new ones, or if there's a script that can just write so it's easier.
Okay, let us know about that.
So my next question is, where do you want to go from here? What do you want to, I know we have issues in multiple different permits and stuff like that, so I just didn't know what the next step you would want to go to.
Do you just, for right now, do we want to just go through those issues, or are those issues that are still pending on your end and you don't have resolution, or is that stuff we can kind of hash out?
We can hash some things out. I mean, let's bring up some issues right now. I'll bring it up right now to see what's still open. I know one of the issues was the validation of the contractor, and that's not going to be valid until the report gets done. So that one is just pending a report.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, pending response.
Jason, do you have the ability to go in and add comments and stuff? Are there comments set up in here to show us, or? Do we have
comments for where? What?
like for the reviews?
Oh, you're talking about like the, like reviews for like actually like the workflow details reviews. You're talking about this?
Yeah. Maybe
reviews?
I think, and Merritt, maybe you can pipe in too, but I think it'd be nice if we could see like the steps that you would take and how we're going to train our end users from A to Z on the permit creation, the case workflow update, and all of that, and adding comments.
Okay, that's fine. Taking things into account of when a new permit comes in, so that the clerk would end up doing the initial steps, putting all the additional info, or am I correct about that? Marking everything on here, or would someone else be doing that?
So the
technicians
permit tech would take it in this portion of it and add the description, yes. Did you hear that?
Sorry, I'm connecting. I got to reconnect.
Oh.
Am I back?
I can hear you, yes.
All right. Yeah, reconnecting to the VPN, and it just shut down for a second, and it just kicked me off of everything for a second, and then brought me back. But okay, can you please repeat everything?
So I was thinking that if we, as part of this, and if we do it tomorrow morning, that's fine too. I'm good either way. But if we can be walked through from A to Z, how to go in there, create the permit, how to update case workflows, how to add the review comment, how to re-accept it back in if it goes out and then comes back in with corrections, adding inspections, if all of that is available to be looked at, so that way we can go in and start testing all of that again.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can do a whole entire walkthrough tomorrow morning. That's fine, because I can show you how inspections would work and how because I can do it I can piecemeal it, and it's not going to make as much sense. I don't think.
Yeah, no. I'm hoping to not. I would like it to make as much sense as possible, so that when I go in to test it, then we're not jumping around, and it's kind of flows better. So do we have some open issues that we can work on, or?
We do. We have a couple. One of the ones I don't think I fixed it. If I'm 100% honest with you, was the state strong fee, and I know we talked about it, and I know how it works. I'll bring up the document you sent over to me as well. I'm gonna open that up. It has to do with how many stories, but depending on if it's a commercial or residential, it will sway the percentage of it. I'm correct right there. Okay. So,
I'm pretty sure, and I'm sorry, I don't have any of my stuff from work here, so I can't confirm that 100%. But I'm pretty sure I sent you how and through an email, because I don't even have access to my work email, how that is calculated, right?
So it's calculated for residential when the stories field is identified with 4 or more. The stories fee jumps to the commercial formula of 28 over 100,000. So
that sounds right.
And then for all residential building permits less than 4 stories, the formula is zoom in. I'm gonna zoom into this. Make sure I get this.
I'm sorry. Hey, Merritt, are you on mute?
13.
No, I'm not.
Okay. I just hear a lot of noise.
I'm sorry, that was me.
Okay.
It's Kurt. Hey,
don't be blaming me.
Quick
I
interjection.
know.
Sorry, I was called away on a phone call with Louie. Did I miss anything? Any action items from you while I was gone for 5 minutes?
We're actually working on one right now.
All right. I got my attention.
All right, I'm going to bring up this. So what it is, it's 13 per 100,000. Is
For
the
residential, 4 stories,
residential
3 stories or under.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's 28 no matter what for commercial.
Correct. And then 4 stories and greater for residential.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. Okay. That's what I have. I just want to make sure that's correct. Because, yeah, I was zooming in, and at one point I couldn't see what it was. All right. Let me go to the fee. I can make the changes there. For this, would it be advisable to have 2 different fees, or would you want one fee with the exact same name? That's where my dilemma now comes from it, thinking about it.
So,
that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And I mean, is it more difficult to calculate when it's all lump summed under one? Is that the issue? Because I know that it calculates in desktop.
No, I think I got it right here. I'll just do, so it's state strong, right? And I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
It's residential occupancy less than 4 stories. So, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then the amount is.
And I don't have that in front of me, but I think I don't remember the amount per 100,000.
It's 28, but I just want to make sure it's.
No, the 28 should be for
13.
13. Okay, that sounds better. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So on that name, can you, in parentheses, can we put SMIP?
Yes.
Okay.
SMIP. Like that?
Correct. Uh-huh.
Okay, that's fine. And so this other state strong one, there we go. Do you want anything else in this parentheses or no?
Like you can leave all other occupancies and then, or you can put just SMIP, all other occupancies. Yeah.
Okay. This one is 28. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about this later on with the finance people, but is it just 6 payment methods? Do you guys know or not about that?
So we don't typically do account transfers. We usually do cash, check, credit card, or money order.
Okay, so not e-check or account transfer. Okay.
Well, but that could be changing because everything's changing. So.
Understandable. Okay. So I'm just going to go quickly to this fee template. There we go. And so you'll see a little bit of my behind the scenes configuration process. It gets pretty insane. I will say some of these, the permit fees, like these ones, were pretty extremely tough to create and structure. Like I'll show you this. So this is the R3 dwellings. It's based on permit square feet. It's got to meet all these conditions before it can even like trigger. So it has to be either one of 4 of these, but it can't be something else. It's got to meet that, and then it's got to meet these 2 permit types, and then it's based on square footage. So that just No,
I've done fees before in desktop, so I know exactly what you mean.
The and/or functionality of it isn't what it should be sometimes.
Right.
Okay. State strong, SMIP, okay. All right. My only question then is, does the state strong fee, the SMIP, should it even fire if it's a commercial permit?
Yes. So commercial is a 28. So all residential 4 stories and larger, and all commercial type occupancies is $28 per 100,000.
I understand that, but I'm saying, so for this fee template I'm doing it for, it's just for commercial permits. So that's my question. Should the SMIP that's less than 4 stories, like the 3 stories, just for residents?
That shouldn't fire on that one. No.
It shouldn't be even on there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's all I was asking. So yeah, this one. Okay.
Yeah.
That one should just fire like that. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across, because I was like, wait a second, why is this one even there if it's not a residential permit?
I got it. Yeah. A little slow.
No, you're fine. Come on. Where'd I go? There we go. And so yeah, this one will fire with a permit value, and as long as it's a commercial permit, this one will fire. Either one.
Perfect.
All right. All right, I'll make all those changes to all the other ones, but now I know exactly what that is. Okay. I'm just making sure about that one. State strong fee. I don't know what the other issues were. I'm trying to look through the other issues we have. Other than that,
Yeah, I'm unfortunately I don't have that with me either, so I don't know what's outstanding. I know that I looked at stuff last week and was able to close out a couple, and then I know I sent some back, so it's hard for me to know what we still have pending.
Okay. I can bring up the ones that are pending.
To this morning with the updated one, there was just one item in there for you, Anne Marie, and there was also the Tyler side. Is that helpful to look at the list?
That would be great, because I do not have access to that, Kurt.
Oh yeah, you don't. That's right. That's right. Now I can't unfortunately display my screen because I'm borrowing my wife's computer for this meeting. Because I've got my work computer set up for the steering committee meeting coming up. Jason, did you by chance? I'm double meaning here. Look at that. I'm looking double me. Jason, do you by chance get that email that I sent? I think I CC'd you.
What email was this? I'm just making sure.
Merritt should have it.
Oh, Merritt should have it. Yeah.
The one from today?
Yeah. Yeah. Can I throw the screen at you? Can you display it on your screen? Are you on a computer?
I'm on my phone right now.
Oh, okay. I can't do that. But maybe if you could read, there was one for well, I can look it up too. I can look it up by number. Just a second.
So no, I'm looking at the ones that are open right now. One of them is description and completeness by filled, and that's open because I have to make sure all of those are done for fire. So that's not anything with building. The address validation. Okay. Today about making sure certain addresses don't get added in there that are phony, and get someone looking.
It sounds like someone's driving with the window down.
It's Merritt. She's driving and texting.
Merritt.
Okay, so the one we just brought up was the calculator. That was number 20, and we discussed that one. The dimension categories do not populate. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we resolved that. That's good.
We resolved that one. There was one that was commercial building permits, incorrect fees. And that had to do
Okay,
with
so
the general plan fee, archival of approved plans fee, state SB 1473 building standards fee, and then a couple other ones.
well, could that be because we don't have, well, the state SB 1473, that never changes.
Yes.
But the other fees could be misfiring because we have the old fee schedule, right?
They could be. Someone highlighted in here, it might have been you, the fire facilities and equipment mitigation per unit and the DRC field inspection fee tier 1 through 5.
Okay, so if those are auto adding, they shouldn't.
I don't think they're auto adding. I'm going to look up right now the fee template to see how they are actually even calculated, just so I can even show you how they're. So, okay. Fire facilities and equipment mitigation per unit fee single family is a hidden fee currently. And so that won't populate outside of that. It shouldn't populate other than by itself. So what will happen is, let me see this. It's based on the number of units, correct? Building commercial, PLCK?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
And I only have it, I think from the questionnaire it said, and this might be the reason why it's all messed up right here, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Only in new and addition permit work classes fire it. Am I wrong, or should I bring up this questionnaire?
So if you can bring up the questionnaire, because it should only be for new, not for addition. Fire mitigation fee should only be for brand new, commercial or residential.
I don't know why it's up there for addition, but it is. I just want to make sure.
For today, and I'll tell you.
I'm not sure why it's there for addition. I know we had help getting those questionnaires filled out with Brian and Glenn's company.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was just.
I think because maybe something. I think because sometimes people feel like an addition is like a new construction. Sometimes.
New? Yeah,
that's the
could
reason
be.
why.
You're right. Yeah.
All right. Because I know a lot of people have a lot of different municipalities have new and addition. They use the exact same. They use them interchangeably.
Yeah. So now the DRC inspection, did planning request that those auto fill? Because those typically are manually added by the planners.
DRC field inspection fees tier 1 through 6 are all manually added.
Okay, good.
Did
that one, can we check?
You want to check how they fire? That's fine.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because without seeing the invoice or whatever it is that I don't know if I flagged it or someone else flagged it. I don't know if that was what the issue was, that it was auto adding or.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this is what happens when I just did a new permit. This is what happens for a plan check. Permit issuance fires for this. Since it's a PLCK, it automatically does that. I can turn that off until the issuance passes.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
AB 717 fires immediately, $4.
Good. Okay.
And then the building footprint update fee fires for $40.
Okay, and that's because it's new, the status of new. Okay, no, those look good. Those look really good.
Okay. All right, let me add the. You said DRC, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because I don't, again, without seeing that issue and that paperwork that was attached, I don't know
So
why.
it just fires it at $581. That's all it does.
And that you
And then-
manually added that though.
Oh, yes, I had to manually click the fee. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, manually, but I don't change how much it costs. So like for the field inspection
Yeah,
fees
and
here.
those aren't building and safety fees, and I'm not sure what the fees are, and I don't know if someone else sent that to you and said it wasn't calculating correctly. So that would be a Veronica question, or Lisa.
Okay, that's fine. And then the other fee I wanted to see how it calculated correctly was this fire facilities and equipment mitigation per unit.
So we, in the past, because we've had the inability of those to calculate, we've just gone and we usually just manually add like the Parks and Rec fee, the fire mitigation fees, and all of that. But if we can get them to calculate correctly, that'd be great. But I don't know.
Okay,
And I don't have those fees in front of me, so I don't know, because it's different for residential and commercial.
And as well as mobile home and multifamily home, I think, as well as
Yeah,
office
I believe
space,
so.
industrial
Yes.
fee. I mean, I'm looking at all of them right now.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what those specific fees are, because I don't have the current schedule in front of me.
All right. Well, yeah, I just wanted to show you because I think that's why I placed these in here, the residential, non-residential type. And so by selecting this, I don't know if can you do multiple or no? Can it be done by multiple in there? So can you have?
We can have mixed use if that's what you mean. Like the bottom floor could be residential, or the commercial, and the top floors could be residential. So it could be mixed use, yes.
So then that's my question on how is it going to fire for mixed use for residential, non.
So let me ask you, and can we go to the permit drop down to see, do we have a mix? I thought we had a commercial residential mixed use, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. That scared me for a second. So that's going to be based on, maybe that's why maybe that's why we have to manually add those fees, because it's based on square footages, and we're going to have different types of how many square footages can we use with the calculator? Multiple, right? But they're only, just trying to think. We have the ability using the calculator for the square feet and valuation but that won't work, will it? Because that calculator now just says building and safety or land development, right? Or is that the valuation calculator that says that?
Well, so this is the permit dimension calculator, building and safety and land development. And I can also add 2 different square footages in there.
Yeah, no, let me go back to the valuation one, calculator. And let's see, because that's where you can pick the type of construction. And so that's how we would differentiate between whether the square footage is commercial or residential.
Okay.
And then it would be based on the square footages. See how you can go in there and do, like, let's say it was commercial, and you add your square footage there.
Yeah.
Can the fees be generated from there? So like, could you generate, if it was new residential, it'd be one fee, obviously, for fire mitigation. And then for the commercial portion of it, the mercantile, it'd be a different fee based on those mitigation fees. Is that possible, or are we going to continue to have to manually add that and calculate?
I think you'd have to manually add it, because if I do 2 of them in here and not separate them, the problem is I think it just totals it. So like if I just do here like that, it would just total the valuation in there. It wouldn't separate them out depending on how much each one costs. So like
I'm sorry, the mitigation fee is based on square footages. So I see that it still defines the square footages based on the type of construction and the occupancy.
Oh, okay. And I got what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that just for the mixed use ones. It just makes it a little difficult making sure this is up to date with what you need it to be, that valuation tracker. how much each one of these things adds the value for each one of this. It just makes it a little difficult, but yeah, we could.
Okay, so I mean, but you're saying that the fire mitigation fee can trigger off of this valuation calculator based on those square footages and the occupancy classification?
It would,
or the valuation group?
You can do the valuation, but it would be the total valuation. You couldn't do separate ones. So as you were saying, if it was residential and commercial, you could take both factors of value into that, but you couldn't.
Right, but so you know how you have the square footage for mercantile, 34 square feet, and then you have storage, 900 square feet in there?
Mm-hmm.
So fire mitigation fees aren't based on value, they're based on square footages.
Yeah.
So but that might just...
I couldn't pick and choose where that square footage came from.
Got it. So then that would lead us back to possibly having to manually continue to add manually and calculate manually all of our mitigation fees.
I do have a different idea for mixed commercial residential permit.
Okay.
And maybe for all of them. And it would be to have residential, non-residential type. So it would have all 6 or 7 of these categories, and then just number of units. And then it would just base everything on the square footage. And what I would do is just create a table. So every single time, if you had multiple, you could just add an extra row. So it would be it'd mostly just be used in a mixed use, but like you could trigger it so it has multiple different rows. So you just wouldn't have one row, and that's the only difference. I mean, I think it would work, and you wouldn't have to do anything manually that way.
Okay, and we could do that. So I think there's other fees that are based on square footages too, like mitigation fees that we add after the fact. So, okay, I guess I'd have to see that. I'm trying to visualize that, and it's kind of hard for me.
No, you're fine. Let me try to see.
I mean, bottom line is that if we have to continue to manually calculate the mitigation fees, for the number of permits that we actually apply those to, we do so many more permits that don't have them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just trying to outweigh, like, the pros and cons to that. But yeah, it'd be nice to maybe delve into that a little deeper.
Is it this one? I'm just trying to find a table of how I can show you how it's going to look. Okay, yeah. So I know this is not anything close to it, but so what you would have here is I can put in I can put mitigation factors in the name of the table, and I can make it small enough so it only shows like 2 rows. But so the first row would be out of those categories. It would pick and choose, mobile home, office, retail, commercial. It'd have a drop down to pick from it, and then you could put in the square footage, and then you could put in number of units as well as another column. So all 3 would trigger.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have to use the square footage from the main
valuation
screen.
calculator.
You wouldn't have to use that at all. You would just use what's in the table and would just calculate right from there.
Okay,
that makes
so let me. It makes some sense to me, and then I'm wondering, we could have all the mitigation fees in there. So like Parks and Rec mitigation, we have a couple other mitigation fees that some are calculated based on units, others are calculated based on occupancy classification, and others are based on square footages. So we could have, and not just fires. So you're just kind of looking at the fire mitigation ones. I'm talking about like the Parks and Rec and all those other ones. Would we be able to do that?
Yeah, we could do those. Where are the Parks and Rec? That's why I want to try to find those.
You don't have them in here because they've historically never been in there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we have the ability to manually add Parks and Rec, a fee that just brings up 0, and then we go in and change it.
Okay. But yeah, we could do it like that. So how it could just be triggered that way. If that's what, if you the route you want to go by. I mean, I know it's a little bit extra work to do that, but it's also one of those things where it maybe save people, training time, not being, if they forgot the fee, not being added on to a later date. It would just automatically be added in as soon as they enter that information in there.
Right. So, and the way and that's where I'm kind of torn, because the way it happens now is when a permit that triggers that type of mitigation fee is created, it auto adds, but it only adds $1 for each of those mitigation fees that's required. And that's just as a reminder to those people to go back in when they're adjusting the fees and to add the correct amount for those specific fees.
Okay.
So that was kind of our workaround to get people to remember to add the mitigation fees. But I'm thinking if we could do the legwork up front and then have the correct amounts added. So yeah, I'd like to see how, if we can work on, and you're gonna have to wait till I go back to work to get you all the fees, because I don't have that in front of me. So I'll put that on my to-do list to see if that's something you think we can do, because they're all different calculations, and then you can see if that's something that's feasible, or if we just leave it as is.
No, that's fine. My question to you then is, how many Parks and Rec mitigation fees, or is it just like, is it not just Parks and Recs? I know there's the fire facilities one in Parks and Rec. Is there any other mitigation fees that
There
are
are,
also triggering this? Okay.
Yes, for something new, and some are based on bedrooms, some are based on units, some are based on square footage, and some are based on occupancy classifications. And I don't know which are which, because I don't have that fee schedule in front of me.
Okay.
So a lot of them would, I think they calculate, like when, see on the screen you're at, where it says, attached 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. I think that helps to how those mitigation fees populate.
Oh, okay.
I would just have to make sure.
So I used this, and I created a, let me check to see which one I added it to. But I added an extra tab on the bottom of one of them on here. Let me see. And it was just called dwelling units. And it was, it just added, how many this is, how many that, just so the idea was you could use it to just add them all up. So let me see.
Because planning needs it for reporting.
Was
that?
Yes, reporting, and for building and safety too. Reporting, how many dwelling units, statistics, and stuff like that. I believe it's in here. Let me just double check.
So like for us, it's the only time there'd be multiple dwelling units under one permit is if it was a condo or a townhome type complex where they're all attached. Otherwise, we issue separate permits per structure.
Oh, okay.
But I total number of dwelling units at the bottom.
Yeah, so it's a locked one, so you can't add anything in here. I can't type anything in here. It just adds whatever's in here.
Got it. Okay. But then let me ask you this. So when you say it adds whatever's in there, so then that's counting it as a separate dwelling, right?
It's counting it as 14 dwelling units. That's all it's doing. It's not counting it as a different permit, but it's just going to, this is just used for reports. So
that's
instead
helpful.
of,
that's nice.
Instead of Katie going in there and trying to run an addition or a sum of all these ones in here, I just created one so she can just do a one-to-one like of dwelling units, so she can drop it into a column. Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
So I need to add that to the mixed residential one, but it was just one of the ones I was in here looking at it and like, oh yeah, I need to add that. But I think I added it to mobile home to make sure.
Hey, can I jump in for just a second?
Go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So in 10 minutes, I'll be starting the EnerGov steering committee meeting. I will actually be, you'll still see me on the screen, although I'll be looking at another computer. So, but at any moment, executives might be popping in. So I'm going to, of course, switch over and give them give them my attention as soon as they're here. Two things. One, Merritt had mentioned that it would be nice for the planning, fire, and Jason Huffnagel to be in the same room together to talk about some things she had in mind. We're hoping that this afternoon might be good. I know there's a period of time, 30 minutes after 5 o'clock, that is kind of open time. If you guys run out of things to talk about, maybe this would be a good venue to talk about this now. And if we need to, we can use more time tomorrow. And Merritt, I think, is here as well. Two, Anne-Marie, regarding your computer issues, I contacted support. I just sent you a private message in the chat, so they have an email address. You can send an email from your phone to submit a help desk ticket, give them your phone number, and they'll be in contact with you. All right?
Perfect, Kirk. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. So I'm going to mute again. This meeting is for 30 minutes. I should be done by 4:30, but I'm dealing with executives, so I'll be done when they tell me I'm done. So I'll be back as soon as I can, but I'll leave this running and nonetheless. So I'll talk to you all soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Merritt, can you briefly tell me what you wanted to talk about?
Well, we discussed that earlier. It was about the linking of the permits, and that's when.
Okay.
And I had emailed Kurt. I just figured it was easier to talk amongst just like building and fire versus all 30 people that were logged in earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah. We need to see. So maybe tomorrow, Merritt, when we go through step A through Z, tomorrow morning, maybe that's a point he can. Jason, would you be able to show us linking at that point?
Yes, I can show you linking at that point. Where do you want me to do? For an example, where should I place it? I mean, I'm going to try to place it above the inspections, right by the issued trade permits.
Yeah.
And just call it fire permits if required, and then have them hidden so you can add and subtract as many as you need. That's my.
You want it?
But unless you want
that
it below that.
To me.
What do you think, Anne? Does that work for you?
I think it's good, but my question on that would be then it makes it a priority and it has to be cleared before it allows us to go to the next step, right?
Well, I can make it no priority, but so it wouldn't. The problem there begins. It wouldn't trigger anything if
Right.
Someone would have to look at it and go, it's not needed, and skip it, or they can just look at it and just avoid it. It's however they want to deal with it.
Okay, so Merritt, then your plan checkers would need to be trained to, if we make it a priority where we can't advance forward, then it would be a training issue for your plan checkers to be sure to clear it or not.
Okay. I guess we can talk about that tomorrow when you show us the process.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I can show you that. Okay. All right. I want to make sure we have all the sign fee data once completed. I know we talked about that in the past, making sure that was complete, Emery. With the sign and it has to do with non-illuminated signs. I just want to be clear about that. So.
Right. It was auto-populating, and it was, if I'm trying to remember the issue correctly, it was an auto-population issue.
Yes.
Okay.
And before we go with that, I just wanted to show you what the questionnaire looked like for the building commercial for that fire facility mitigation. It says only appears in addition and new work classes. So I can make it just appear for new work classes. I just want to make sure that's what you want it to go ahead with.
Okay. Merritt.
Yes.
Fire mitigation fees are only for new work classes, not additions, right?
I'll have to confirm that.
Okay, because I thought it was strictly new work, new square footage, but it looks like
addition and new work classes.
Yeah. See, unfortunately, Kurt, I mean, I'm not Kurt, Jason. I don't have that fee. I don't have fees for development in front of me, so I can't verify that one way or the other. So can we hold off on that for a second and we'll both try to verify that?
Yes, that's fine. I think, did you attach a fee schedule to one of the things on the internal test tracker?
I did, but I don't know that I attached, they're separate. So I might have attached the city fee schedule, but I don't know if I attached one that said fees for development.
Okay, let me see. I think maybe even Lisa Kraus sent me all of them. I don't remember if she did or not.
Right, and she may have sent you a complete fee schedule, but the fees for development are always separate, and it's like a 3 or 4 page document.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not.
They don't. I don't know why they don't put them in with the normal fee schedule.
Okay, it's not with the 30-page one. Okay.
No, no.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so Merritt and I have mitigation fees. What I'll try to do is, I'm not going to be in the office at all this week, but we'll try to get you the fees for development schedule. Well, I'll try to get to you by Monday afternoon.
Okay, that's fine. No worries there. This is, so for this sign permit, I'm going to put the sign data in there. So it's illuminated signs. And so each one of these should calculate by, if I put 4 in here, it should, 4 times that amount, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So electric sign fee 4 times, so that's $716. I'm just going to put 1 in there. Okay, 179. All right. So that does
Perfect.
that. And then non-illuminated signs has not done anything yet. And if I just put in 5, it should trigger non-illuminated sign fee 5, 465. Okay.
Sure. Looks good.
Okay. The one question I did have was the monument signs. No matter how many you put in here, it just charges a flat fee, correct? Or should
No,
it be
it should be calculated per monument sign.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Foundation, and it's called a foundation plan.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's just because it has a foundation and footings, and so that's what typically a monument sign is.
Okay, that's fine. All right. All right, I'm gonna make this calculated. I'm gonna leave it at that rate at $320
per. Yeah.
I'm assuming that. Okay. So now I got that taken care of. I gotta change the feed template, what it's gonna be charged to. All right, let me just add this in here. Taking care of this. All right, that should take care of that. There's one thing I saw in there, and I was like, I want to make sure that's correct before we take care of anything else.
Okay.
Anne?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
So I text Foster, and he said that he's only applied the fee to new construction.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. New only. All right.
So that
No biggie
manual
there.
plan check fee in there, what is that?
That manual
Did
plan
you-
check fee?
Yeah, did you add that or that just went away? Okay.
I believe it was in the. I know it's in the fee template. I'll check what triggers that, but I don't even see anything
Oh, I
in
don't
there
see it
right now.
anymore though. I saw it a minute ago and then it just disappeared. So maybe that was just
Wonder if it was in here you saw it, but let's bring it up. I know I saw it too. So all right, manual plan check fee.
oh, maybe that's where I saw it right there. Thinking it was in that sign permit.
Yeah, it's triggered off of code enforcement hours and elected hours. I can turn this off. It was just one of those things that was in there. So if I were to go to the permit and put it in here for approvals and time, if I put in code enforcement hours, if I put, 5 hours
Yeah, no,
in
that's fine.
here,
You can leave it. I saw that and I was like, what is that? I thought it was in the actual sign permit that you created when we were verifying the fees, but it was in the other drop down. Okay.
no, you're fine. So in the sign data, the sign confirms that can be self-certified.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. So
Really? Okay.
that doesn't get used. But I think we have a self-cert amount. Did it trigger something?
I don't have anything for triggers at all. I just put in one,
Okay.
it does nothing.
Okay, so I know it used to trigger a fee, and I don't know. I'd have to have the fee schedule in front of me. I think it's a self-certification inspection in our fee schedule, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. All right. Well, self-certification. Yeah, that was one of the last parts of it. I just want to make sure I get it.
Okay.
Now, I mean, majority of what moving forward as well, for these fees, the amount might not be correct, but I want to make sure that they calculate correctly. Like for that moment, the monument signs, it didn't calculate correctly. So that's what I want to make sure we take care of. Not, I mean, I do. I mean, if it's drastically off, but I mean, how much it costs. But I mean.
Okay, so moving forward, we want to make sure they're calculating based on the quantity selected and not necessarily the amount, just because we know we have to update the fee schedule.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If things like, even by that standards, if like things aren't being calculated correctly with the technology fee and like the general plan fee, if those aren't adding into that correctly, that needs to be taken care of, since that's something that's that's a calculation error. That's not like a the amount of fee error, because we can always fix the amount of fee error at any point in time, but how things are calculated to me seems a little bit more important before we go live. When we go live, how much fees cost, it does matter, and it is very
Okay, so speaking of calculations, because it's incorrect in desktop, and I was just thinking about that when you said that. And the PEM permits, can we just verify that we have the right formula for electric outlets by square footage and electric outlets by count?
Okay.
Because right now the way it was set up is it's prorated under. And it shouldn't be prorated until it hits a certain amount.
Okay. So you said it was electrical outlet
Okay,
square
so
footage?
electric, yes, so put in 90 for square footage, and I want to see what the fee calculates out. So where is that fee? 149?
Yep.
Perfect, okay. Because it's for the first, yeah, up to 1,000, it should be the set fee, and then do the outlet totals. And put,
Outlet total?
yeah, put 7 in there. And that should, okay, so where is that fee? That's the outlet total.
That's right here.
Okay, see how that says 6510?
Yes.
Okay,
What
so
should it be?
it should be, I don't know the exact fee, but so 10 and under is a specific amount, and then I don't have the fee. You should have that fee schedule in front of you, but it's for every 10 units. But the base fee, there's a base fee of whatever, I think it's like 140.
I got it right here. I know exactly what to do. So it's $93 for every 10.
Yes.
And then okay, so the first 10, no matter what, even if you have 4 in there, it's $93. And then after that, it gets prorated?
No. And then it's for every 10, it stays like that. Well, I guess I don't know if they prorated after 10. I don't think those are prorated after 10, but we need that base fee in there at a minimum.
Okay, I can do that. That's
okay.
All right. Adjustable fees.
And I'll double check that, but I think it's for every 10 units, it's $93, regardless of the amount within that 10 count. But I need to check that. I don't want to say that's 100% accurate.
Actually, 0 here. 1 second. Okay. So this is how I wrote it. So it's, if it's 0, it's nothing. But so 1 to 10, it's $93, no matter what happens. 11 and more, it's $93. And then for every additional 10 over 10, it's $93. So it's automatically going to prorate that first 10. That's the issue with that.
But that's what we need.
Okay. To get it to not prorate, it's a little bit tricky moving forward for the rest of that. I have to make some crazy rounding up things, but yeah.
Okay, before you do all that crazy rounding up stuff, I don't have that fee schedule in front of me, and I don't know if it's prorated after that, but I thought I'm pretty sure it's for every 10 units, and it doesn't get prorated.
Okay.
I think the square footage one gets prorated after 1,000.
Yeah, and this is the square footage one, and that's why it works like that. Because I did see that come in one time. I think you mentioned that it was wrong one time, and I fixed that.
Yeah, because like from 0 or from 1 to 900 or let's say in the square footage one, from 1 to 1,000, it's that base fee, and then after that, it prorates. But I don't even think it's supposed to prorate. I think we just did that. And I think if you read the fee schedule, it says per every 1,000 square foot or their portion thereof after. Yeah. I'll have to double check that though.
So yeah, I mean, the thing I would have to do that for that would be then is make sure everything rounds up to the nearest 10. And that's how I would do that. That way, so let's say it's 19, it still rounds up to 20. And then, and that's how it would do. So as long as it gets to 20, it wouldn't go over. That's how I would have to do it, I think. But just please make sure
and let me,
if that's what it is.
Let me put that down as something to check, electrical fee count. Okay, so but before you spend any time working on that, I know that I sent you the fee schedule for that specifically, so we can look there and I could probably deduce from that, but I would want to verify that.
Yeah, let me look that up right now. I think. Okay. Well, I feel like we're getting a lot done, even if I feel like we're going at a snail's pace. I do apologize.
No. I think this is the way to do it.
Hey, Anne?
Yes, ma'am.
I pulled up the fee schedule from our H drive. So do you want me to check the electrical fee?
Oh, can you? Yeah. I think it's on, like, our fees start on page 9.
9?
And they go to page 16. And I think electrical might be right smack in the middle of that.
Okay, let me go to the other room where there's less noise. Let me find it right now.
Okay.
Okay, well, in the meantime, talking about the rest of the PM fees, there was a couple of things I didn't see. I didn't think I saw a difference between a commercial dishwasher, I think, and a residential one, or it might have been something a little bit different, but there was only commercial. There was nothing any residential. Am I right?
I think the commercial dishwasher should be more expensive than the
residential.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just go in here. So this is the commercial one. There.
And then on the first tab should be just a dishwasher. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, and so it's just 4, because there was no residential dishwasher fee when I was looking at the fees.
There should be.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be a residential dishwasher fee.
I see commercial dishwasher. Is that the 151?
Yes, it's $151. Yes.
So then look, Merritt, there should be like maybe
It's called dishwasher, not even commercial.
Yeah.
Or residential.
For residential, all I see is residential laundry room plumbing.
No, that's okay. Kitchen. Is there a new kitchen, right? So typically on the if I remember correctly, the way those calculate with the residential kitchen and the laundry room is that when you select for the kitchen one, if we select, let's say, for instance, residential kitchen sink, residential dishwasher. So for the 4 that you select, it calculates the new residential kitchen plumbing fee. Merritt, do you see that in there?
I see
4 fixtures.
Okay, so I am under commercial dishwasher, and then I see a commercial kitchen or prep sink.
No, go look for residential kitchen plumbing.
And plumbing, okay, let me check.
What was the 4th one for your example? Residential kitchen sink, residential washer, dishwasher, and then. So I know this fee doesn't populate, but I just want to make sure we have something we can populate.
So if you were to go now and look at your fees, what do the fees say?
New residential kitchen plumbing fee.
That's it.
$185.
So that new residential kitchen plumbing fee is if you select one or more, up to 4 fixtures related to a kitchen remodel. So it could be like a dishwasher or, but the dishwasher fee alone, I don't know what that is. I'll have to
calculate it? 'Cause people come in and just replace the dishwasher.
So there's a new residential kitchen plumbing, and it's $193 per 4 fixtures.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if that's the case, then if it's residential kitchen sink, residential washer, and then let's consider this a residential dishwasher. I'm assuming the washer has to do with
Laundry.
residential.
There should be new laundry. Is
Yeah,
it
it's
on
residential.
there? I don't see it.
Yeah, clothes washer right here. That's what it's called.
Okay. So that's just if it's the clothes washer, but like if you pick, isn't there merit on the fee schedule? Isn't there for a laundry room too? Residential laundry room?
Let me check. I'm going down the list right now.
Oh, so what we typically do, this is, it's starting to come back to me.
Yeah, there's a residential laundry room plumbing.
Yeah, so see where it says replace fixtures?
Replace fixtures.
It's
Yes,
right,
right here.
okay, so that, when you occupy that, that's a less expensive rate for, so when we do replacement fixtures, like just, and this is why I'm remembering now, just for dishwasher or just for kitchen sink or just for a washer, but not like a new one, it calculates at a lower rate there. So where we put the fee calculations for a replacement of just a dishwasher would be there. So when it's new, then we go in and select dishwasher, or we'll select residential washer, because that calculates at a higher rate because it's more expensive plumbing and electrical for more inspection. Does that make sense? So like if you were to put like 3 fixtures in there, it should calculate a set amount based on what we decided was, yeah.
You have it right here. Replace existing dwelling unit fixture. You have $96 for 4, every 4.
Up to 4, right?
Up to 4, yes.
Okay.
So I have
So if you were to put 5 there, Jason, it should calculate perfect.
120.
That's
no,
good. Okay.
At 120. So is it? So it looks like it's prorated. I think it should be every 4. Does it say for every 4 fixtures it should calculate that one? What is that amount, Merritt?
$96.
Yeah. Okay, so 96 per 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I might have a little problem with prorating it at 4. That might be a little.
No, so
not prorating
like with every. So even if they did 6, it would still be another $96. So every 4 fixtures is $96, even if it's a portion thereof. Does that make sense?
No, I understand how that would read. It would, so for the first 4, I mean, so it would be 96 plus 96. So it would be, what is that? $192.
Yeah.
That's what it should be for 6.
Yeah.
And for that, it's going to, like I said, I'm going to have to work on that one since that one's, so it's a round, it's almost round things up, but not really. It's weird since like it automatically does, all my fees automatically prorate themselves. That's something I can't stop them from doing. And so that's where it makes it a little difficult. I can make all those fees go up to a certain point, but
I think what it's adding is, isn't it dividing it by 4? So it's adding $24 per fixture.
Yeah, that's what it's doing. And but if you read the fee schedule, Merritt, it doesn't say that it should do it that way, right?
Right, it's per 4 fixtures. So it's like every, so if you have 6, then it's like you're saying 96 plus 96.
Okay, so what I can do here, and even moving forward, is, do you think there's a rate of return where you would, like, not a rate of return, but like, do you think there's a limit of how many fixtures someone would actually add?
It's hard to say because if they have like a 3-bedroom house with 5 bathrooms and they're just replacing fixtures versus building them new, I mean, you could have, it's hard to say because you could have 10 or 15 fixtures that they're replacing. So how is it doing it now, Jason? It does it do the first 96 and then or didn't even?
It does the first 96, and then after that it prorates every 4 after that. And I'm trying to figure out the best. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't do that. So let me try this.
Okay, so maybe though, I wish it was in EnerGov now because maybe that's fine. I don't know. I don't know how it does it in EnerGov now, but I want to think it does it exactly like it's doing it now in this version. So, and I don't know if that was a decision made that, yeah, I'd have to research that further.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I can add, like I can go 1 through 4, I can go, 5 through 8. I can do this up to a certain minute to make sure it adds it correctly. But at some point though, like I have to go, it's not going to add it correctly. It's going to prorate it. So if I did it up to 120 fixtures, that's my thing. It's like, I can do it all the way up to 120, but I mean, at that point, it's going to prorate it.
No,
So,
I
I mean,
totally
I don't know
get
how
that.
far I want to go with that.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I totally would want to verify that we're either going to do per every 4 fixtures like our fee schedule says, or we're going to continue to prorate the way we have been. So that's going to be a decision I have to talk to the building official with.
Because yeah, the rounding on the fee is just the rounding of the fee value, and then if I try to do, if I try to round it in the fee setup, it always does it by tens. It doesn't do it by single digits, and that's my So yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. If it by tens, it's not hard. By 4 or 4s or like 3s, it gets a little difficult to do. And I'll have to ask someone if they've done before with like that.
Okay, and then I'll ask on my end to see if it's worth going there, or if we're just going to continue the way it's been in EnerGov existing.
Okay.
Okay, so that's good.
All right. Well, it's that, but we also I have to make adjustments to the other fees. So as you were saying, up to 4 different one of these, it triggers fees. So like as you were saying, residential kitchen sink, residential washers, although like if you replace all, or in the dishwasher, you replace any 4 of those up to 4, it's a certain amount. I have to make sure that's in there. If that's what we're going to go ahead with. Okay.
Yeah, because then, so with the kitchen stuff, then it's going to trigger that new kitchen plumbing fee, which is up to 4 fixtures. And then for the laundry room, it's going to be like the laundry sink, the residential washer. If you selected those individually, then it should calculate the new residential laundry room plumbing fee.
Okay. All right. Is it lavatory? Does that have one as well?
That would be restroom. Yeah, that would be a restroom. And I think too, there's new residential restroom. Is there a new residential restroom on the fee schedule, Merritt?
Let me pull it up. Let's see here.
Because that way, like, that would be, yeah, if you do 4, it should calculate, should say.
Lavatory I don't have anything for, it's a sink fee.
Oh, sink fee, that's it. That's a
Sink?
lavatory sink.
Oh.
Yeah, sink is a lavatory.
Yeah, it comes up as 4 sinks.
So if you were to do, let's say 4 sinks or do 1 sink, do a toilet, do a bidet. That's just for the heck of it. I want to see if it calculates. So I want a total of 4 fixtures is what I'm going for here. Okay. And then let's see if it does a new restroom, or how does it?
It just, it didn't even calculate the toilets. I gotta have the toilet in there. Okay. So,
okay.
Right. Toilets is missing.
But Merritt, there is a fee for up to 4, right?
Let me pull it up. Hold on.
Well, my question is then, shouldn't we group them together? So like right now, they're all, I think this is done in, not, I mean, I mean, I'm saying this out loud, but they're all right now. Just this is the way the order was given, I think, to us. I just want to make sure if we're going to do that, we should just put then all them all together, and we can even put certain things in there, like we can create things around it. So it's saying like
so the reason
bathroom, or we can say kitchen.
Yeah, the reason we don't is because if you go to the top of this tab, is this the OTC tab? Okay, so the reason they're listed the way they are is because these are the ones that are used the most frequently on this tab for all types of permits across the floor. So even like the ones we do quickly right over the counter. And so that's the kind of way we broke it down, is like so that you didn't have to go through a bunch of tabs to get to the ones we use most frequently. So plumbing too is typically just stuff that is plan check and stuff. Like you're very rarely ever going to issue something like this over the counter. But you can. But we wanted the stuff that we're going to issue over the counter, and that's why we named it plumbing OTC, because these are the ones we use most frequently, and they're they can typically be solar permits just for that. And that was the thinking on all the tabs, the OTC tabs, and that's why they're grouped the way they are.
Well, I feel like these 6 tabs might cause the biggest problem of making sure they're all calculating correctly. So I think from like your standpoint of like making sure this permit is correct, especially within this PEM, is very crucial for going live, making sure this is correct. That's just my feeling. I just looking at this already, and it's going, well, with it being, these 4, this and that, if that's all correct, and we get that, that's fine. I just want to make sure, we have the correct, fee firing, and what happens if only one fires and everything else. I want to make sure everything gets corrected.
Let me ask you this, Jason. So these all fire in EnerGov desktop, and the way they were connected is all in there. Do you guys have access to the behind the scenes for the fees on that?
I don't have any access to desktop at all.
So now let me ask you this. If I were to go in and, well, I'd have to be at work because I don't have access to it, but to those fees, because I have system admin rights, and so I can go into where the fees are calculated, and I can show you the way those are connected through desktop. Would that speed up what you're doing on your end?
Potentially, yes. I think it could. See how those, especially like the PEMs and stuff like that, how all those will calculate. And I know we'll have some time on, I believe, Monday and Tuesday of next week, since I was supposed to be out in Ventura as well next week for a meeting with the shareholders with one of my bosses. But
so maybe then we can set up.
That meeting will be remote,
time.
but we can do that though.
Okay, so maybe we can set up some time, and then I can be at the desk, and I can have, or at least have the computer here with all the access to that, and we can do like a log me on, and I can show you the behind the scenes on the desktop where those fees are calculated to see if that'll help explain how that works.
It definitely would, and I just want to make sure everything is running there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so I have this one, the electrical issuance, and I did the exact same as the mechanical issuance and plumbing issuance. No matter how many times if I put 5 in here, it should only fire as 1.
Correct.
So I have that. I just want to show you for electrical issuance as well. $13. Okay.
Perfect.
These other fees in here, the auto lift, are anything else grouped together similarly to plumbing OTC or no?
No, these electrical ones are all self-standing or standalone. It's just, I don't know why they did the plumbing ones that way. Just a nightmare.
Okay, so I just want to, let me just do this real quick. There is one question I think for the motors ones. I think I'll bring that up in 1 second. So I just want to see the auto lift. 1, 1, and 12. Okay, those all fire at least correctly, somewhat. I don't know if the fee calculates correctly, but so for this, I think there's for one motor. So this is 120 volts. I think this one fires. I think anything 240 over though fires differently. So like 480 might be included with the 241. Let me see if that works. I think it does. Yes. So motor over 20 horsepower fee. It's 15 because it's 240 and then 480. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Oh, I don't know if that's correct either.
Because I was missing this, like the 240 fee, but
yeah.
And when I read the description for it, it said motor over 20 horsepower, and that meant this fee, the 240. But there's also a designation for 480. I just want to make sure that got calculated correctly.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think that's miscalculating. So
Okay.
I'd have to check the fee schedule and try to get you those calculations. And again, we can check if we do a log me on, I think we can answer a lot of these questions by just going into the desktop and looking behind the scenes at the way the fees were set up for each of these.
Okay.
Because I have the ability to go in there and do that.
Okay. Is there any other permit that you think you would want to talk about before in these next half hour before we get close out for the first day?
No, I don't know. What do you think? I think we've covered pretty much all the issues, right?
I believe so.
I mean,
yes. I mean, I just want to make sure.
I mean, the fee ones are obviously we can't resolve that until I'm able to. But for the most part, I think I feel pretty good with what we've accomplished today.
Okay. Let me look at the demolition one.
Merritt, do you have any questions in regards to our permits in relationship to yours? I mean, you're going to.
Yeah, we'll see tomorrow when we open up ours.
Okay, because and I'm going to probably join in on the fire discussion because.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Well, see, I have some discussion, and I think we should change certain things. Merritt, while you're here, I mean.
Okay.
Let me give you your feedback.
Sure.
So I'm just going to bring up above ground storage tanks.
Okay.
And it has to do with the workflow mostly. I mean, there's other things in here that I think we should change. So if I bring up the workflow, in here it has the inspections. I mean, this is just very easy ones for this one. It's just very cut and dry. Actually, I meant to bring up underground. That's the bigger issue. Sorry, underground's the bigger issue. So there's 5 work classes: install new, leak detection, removal, repair, and temporary closure. If I select install new, the workflow details, why is there inspections for repairs and temporary closure? And I know that's what it was set up in the questionnaire, but they shouldn't be there, correct?
No, and well,
it's going to be the installation.
Yeah, okay. We only want it to be if it's once we select the work class. So if it's for a repair, we want it to show that UST repair, that one right above it. Okay. All of those for the inspections.
That's what I thought, and it was just the way it was written in the questionnaire. I was like, I think whoever put it in there just did it like that, and I was like, I don't know if that's correct when I saw it. And then the other part of underground, and it's above ground as well, has very similar, is how this is done. So it goes install of underground tanks numbers, and then it has the next one, each additional installation of underground tank numbers.
Right.
My question is, should the question shouldn't just be installation of underground tanks, and that way we can do fees differently. So like, let's say it's 5 underground tanks. The first tank would be charged at a different rate than the other 4 would be.
Am I wrong? Okay. That's correct. Yeah. So the first tank it's the fees higher, and then there's an additional fee per tank.
And and that's when I looked at this. I'm like, I don't think this is needed. as well as each additional installation of associated piping, that shouldn't be there. And then I don't think removal of tanks should be on each one of the ones, even when you're installing new. Maybe you do, I don't know. That's my other question.
Yeah, no, because when I asked about that, they said they basically put everything in here for the different types of our work class. And that's why I was asking, like now on desktop, when I do an install new, I don't have all of these. I have one cell and I put in the number of tanks. And then that's it. I don't have all of these additional removal, popping up on the desktop version.
Okay, so you just want to put in number of tanks. That's only class you want there. That's fine.
Right. If
So
it's for an install, yeah.
It's for install and removal as well, just number of tanks being removed.
Well, that would be a different type of work class. So we have an install UST, right?
Yeah.
So then if it's for removal, then yes, all I need to have in there is to enter how many tanks are being removed.
Exactly. So what happens for repairs and upgrades? Is that install new and removal? That's my other question for that.
The repair, I have to look at it. Let me look at my fee schedule. I think that's based on the time spent for our hazmat specialist.
Okay. Because I was just wondering, is there a work class where it would require both, being you're installing one and you're removing one? I didn't know if there was where that would be the case, where you would remove it, because let's say, well, I guess it would be here, leak detection equipment replacement, or that just fixes the leak.
Right. That's just more of a repair.
Okay. So, I mean, that's why I was wondering, when that comes about, I didn't know what the best way to do that was, if there ever was, if you're removing something as well as just adding it, you're doing both. And if so, we should just have number of tanks. It shouldn't be anything else other than that. It shouldn't be the install of one or each additional one, or, I mean, we could just do, install or number, or in this one it'd be associated piping and other regulated components. And it would just be all of them. And
all of them.
Just,
yeah. And that's fine, because most of the hazmat fees are pretty straightforward. It's by per tank, and it's more of a flat fee for the hazmat. Let me look at them. Yeah, so it's like for an install of an underground, let's say, that one it's like $1,400 plus all the fees, like the technology fee. And then if you have an additional one, then it's the $561. So, I mean, we don't need all of those. We can have one. That's how we currently have it.
No, and that's why I looked at it. I was like, this doesn't seem correct.
Yeah, and most of really what we focus on is the description of work, because that's where we're really going to be having the description of what the scope of work is.
Okay. And I mean, that's what I did to the fire alarms. That's what I fixed it that way, because it was similar to that. It had all three on there, and it made no. I mean, we just did this.
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, because before it had all three.
And I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
When I saw it, and this is what I was just talking about, the revision: number of new devices, number of alteration devices. I didn't know if there was anything where you would need, install or removal on both of them. So that's why I was just wondering, if you're not going to remove it and install a new one, then I guess those would be two separate permits. Then we don't have to do that. That's not a big deal. I can just set that up tonight. That way, tomorrow morning when we look at that, we'll look at something a lot better. And I think
if you can, that'd be great, because that way, I believe one of our hazmat specialists will be on part of the meeting, so he can look at it.
Okay. I have another question, and it's for Anne-Marie and you both. This permit type, does it need to have the B8 and F1 and C1 next to each one of these permit types?
I don't know where those came from.
Okay.
So, I don't know about you, Ann.
I don't know where those came from either.
I almost want to think it's the worksheets. I want to say it's, how we kept making changes on the worksheets?
Oh, okay.
I think that's what that is. Maybe I could be wrong.
That was confusing to me too.
I thought it was more of your, like a Tyler number, like you guys were using that.
No, I mean, the reason why I say that is because planning uses it as like, P0, P1, P2. That's the reason why I didn't know if you like, your departments use this. So, I mean, I think if anything, it's all to blame the planning for that. But I can remove those out of there as well.
Yes, I don't need them.
Yeah, I don't know what those are for, so we didn't designate that, but
I mean,
it's up to you.
it was
Yeah.
extra characters, and I think it caused problems with reports when I was originally showing things. It made it a lot longer when it should have. And then other question: does BLD need to be in front of every single one of the building permits, or are you okay with it? That's up to Emery, or I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think originally they were just because that's how we differentiated between building permits, fire permits, and it put it at the front of the line for everything. Like put it at the top since we used it the most.
Okay.
But I don't know. Do you have another way that can work?
No, I mean,
see how
it
groups it all together. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jason, but see how they're all grouped together? I think that's why it was part of it, keeping them all grouped together.
Well, then my question is for fire. Do you want me to put fire in front of every one of the fire ones?
I mean, if it makes it easier, because right now you have above ground, obviously way on the top, and then underground it's way in the bottom, because we don't have the fire.
Merritt, what if you put FP?
Right in the front of all of them?
Yeah, FP in front of the front.
Yeah, and that way it'll group them, right? Because right now how they're kind of scattered. There's fire alarm, and then there's grading, and then other fire protection.
No, I can do that. That's not hard.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, and we can drop it down to B if you want to just put a B in front of ours. I'm good with that too. If it'll help you.
I'm okay with that. That's fine. I just wanted to know if that was needed or not. I saw it on there, and if that's what you wanted to make sure everything's grouped together, that's not a big deal at all. I just want to, know why that was like that, and so I can move everything.
Yeah, and I believe land development had LD in front of theirs.
At
one time, but
right there. See, there's one, just one.
Yeah, just for one of them, and every other one of them not so much. They don't have anything. So
right. So maybe that would be a good question, because I mean, for us it was solely the sole purpose of grouping them together, so we didn't have to go through the entire drop down looking for the specific permits. It was all grouped.
Is that the way you have it in desktop? Yeah, you have the BLD. You don't, right?
Yeah, we do.
You do.
Oh,
all right, it's a long day. I'm forgetting.
Understandable.
Or I'm imagining.
I know. I just thought I saw that on the worksheet, still it's numbers, like the F, the BLD. So I don't know if that just got carried over to when they were creating the enterprise for us.
Yeah, no, I believe we have them grouped because we're the ones that use permitting the most, or we were in the past the ones who used permitting the most. So we grouped all of ours together that way.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to do like fire prevention, Jason, that's fine. That way they're all grouped together.
I'll put FP that way, yeah. And then I'll let Public Works and Land Development know about that and figure out if they want to just do one moniker or they can do separate. I mean, since they can put I guess a T in front of it and put oversized load and parking together.
Oh yeah, that would be that would be a good idea. Yeah.
That's true.
Any other questions? I mean, I don't want to. I mean, it's still early. We're still 15 minutes early, and then we still have the spillover session just in case you want to talk about anything else today.
So wait, so let me get clarification. Spillover session. If we're done now, like we're feeling like, oh, we're done. We're good to go, or we have to kind of last until 5:30.
We don't have to last until 5:30. This is all on you guys. How you guys want. I mean, it's 7:45 here.
Oh, I kind of feel like we've accomplished a lot today.
Okay.
Unless you have anything pressing that you really want to go over in this last 15 minutes, I'm open to that.
Okay. So one small thing from Merritt before she goes. I
Okay.
looked in planning, and there is one fire thing in planning, and I want to make sure you want to leave it in planning, and I don't know if you do or don't. I want to say it is, okay, it is non-specific fire code. And that's considered a plan. I want to make sure that's supposed to be considered a plan and not a permit.
Well, for that one,
Yes.
we do both. So it's right now it's under a plan review, and we
Okay.
do. It's not really a permit. We issue fees, so they pay us for plan review time. So I'm not
Okay.
sure where's the best place to put that, under a plan or a permit.
We can put it in plan. It just would be, it's gonna be a lot harder to track that one based compared to everyone else of the fire things. So if you're running
I
reports
see.
and this is the report you're gonna run with the rest of your fire permits, it's not gonna be grouped with them, and that's the only downside for it being over here.
Okay, so if we put it on the permit, I can still add plan review time to invoice somebody. Then it's easier under the permit module.
You could do it both ways. Yeah, both ways you can do that.
Okay. Well, if it's easier just to place it under the permit, then that's fine.
So Jason, going on that, the only one we also have in there is the building records disclosure stuff.
Yeah.
Right above BLD.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I got to take this one out of here. That I don't know why that's
Right.
in there.
But the B3 one, do you recommend moving forward for the same reporting purposes and stuff like that, that we move it over to the permit module, or should we leave it where it is?
My question for all the other building ones, so this is the additional info in that, and it's total number of pages, zone, use, planning file number. All the other reports, I mean, how many reports do you run on the building disclosure report, other than the invoice receipt and the what the report actually has?
Well, we report on how many we do a month.
Okay.
So if we wanted that lump sum with the rest of the building and safety stuff, should it be moved to the permit module, I guess is my question.
Yes, we can move that way. Yeah, we can do that. I mean, it's
Okay,
not
I'm
a
just
huge issue to
thinking,
move it.
okay, I was just thinking the same issue or the same concerns you brought up with Merritt, the one that she has there. Would it benefit building and safety to relocate this report into the permit module?
Yeah. I mean, and I understand the concern there. My only question is when you do your total number of, let's say, building permits, just for an example, and we put this in the permits, the building records disclosure report is on there right next, as well as mixed use commercial, as well as, and so it's all on either it's how many things were done within a month or how many were, applied for within a month.
Uh-huh.
I'm just asking, they all get combined together.
So I got it. So like right now when I run a report in the plan check module, I select like my specific plan check cases that I want to run the report on, but I run this one independently. So if I run it independently, then it may just benefit us keeping it where it's at.
Yes, and that's my that's where I'm saying that, yeah, because that's the only, if you're going to combine it with the rest of your permits, and it's got information in there that other reports that are needed as well, then I would say combine it. But if you're going to run that, if this report is only reports being run on for this one is independent and it's all by itself, then I don't think it needs to be with anything. I think
then we'll just leave it as is.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the same goes for fire, for that non-specific one.
Okay.
Merit. So depending on how you want to use the non-specific fire, if the reports that this one fires are only by itself, then it can stay over here. If it belongs to the other reports, then we can add it to the permits. So I don't have any additional info for this either, and I can add the description of work and
okay. Yes.
I can add those in there. But my question is, what happens what other information needs to be, captured in here. If nothing else, then I don't know.
It's really just review time. Say our plan
Okay.
checker has comments, so he needs to be able to add comments and print those for, like, back to the hospital.
Okay, that's fine.
Mary, would it benefit having the description in there so you know what project it's for, or?
Yeah. So you can add that, Jason, under additional info, the description of described work.
Yeah, I can add that. That's not an issue. Describe work and completeness by.
Yes,
and
that would be great.
And by the this is an issue, I guess, for all of them. When do you think we will be able to get that list to put in there for the completeness by?
So planning doesn't do completeness by, right?
Not that
no. They have their own something else.
So it'll just be anybody working in the permit module. So I could probably put together a list and get it to you.
Okay, that sounds great. Because that way I can add that in there, and that way you can start messing around with it and see how it actually looks with all the people's names. You can do abbreviations or any way you want to do with that. But yeah, that just I just saw it as a thing that we could do moving forward.
You do that for all of us, Anne, or do you want me to send a separate list to Jason?
Well, I'm not sure who all in fire is reviewing plans now, and yeah, I mean, if you want to do it for your people and I'll do it for my people, and then we'll maybe have Chandra do it for his people. I'm not sure. What do you think?
It doesn't matter. We don't have that many in the department. It's only a few of us.
Okay. We have a ton because we have contract services. So
right.
Okay.
And with
I'll get
that,
your list, Jason.
Okay. And then I did forget something else I wanted to bring up with both of you, and making sure we have all the reviewers in there and inspectors who are going to be in EnerGov. That way I know who they are, and then I can assign them to the correct departments and the correct item reviews. So like I'm just going to bring up, for an example, an item review. An item review is like what's in the full submittal. So like what we were looking at earlier was the building review. But it was the submittal. It had all the other ones in there. So for building and safety architectural, I want to know who's actually assigned to actually looking at those. Who's the reviewers for that.
Oh, I see.
So currently I have 4 people. I have Yolanda, I have Lillian, Scott Weiss, and Ed Carlos. Those are the 4 people I have in there, but if there's other people or there's people who need to be removed, I want to make sure we have everyone that's in there.
You can immediately remove Yolanda. She's no longer employed with the city of Ventura.
I know that.
And then, so you just want a complete list of, okay, so we also have contract services that we have down as reviewers too, that we want, because we want to be able to look to see who they're assigned to immediately.
Okay.
Are we able to add them as reviewers?
We can add in people, whoever they want to. The problem is, so like if I do assigned users, and it's like it's done by a department right now.
Yes.
And so what happens is if there is one person on this, they can assign it to whoever they want to. If there's 3 people, I can only assign it to whoever else is attached to this. That's the downside to these item reviews. So like currently, Carlos can only reassign it to Scott.
Can't we just have a list of all the reviewers and not have them attached to reviews?
Yes, we can do that. We need to make one person the head honcho for all of them, so they can reassign it to whoever they want to. That's where that problem gets a little bit swayed, of like who's going to read the, for example, who's going to lead the DAC review. They can assign it to whoever they want to. But I just want to make sure.
But that's like in planning. So like for building and safety, it's usually the techs who go in and do all the reassignments and select the assignments. Okay. So I could list the techs as
you need one person.
Just one person, yeah. Okay, I get it. Could we have like a?
Well, the way it is right now.
And you can add in, you know, I could also add in here 20 people, and it would just it's going to load balance it to a certain extent, and then people can still reassign it to each other.
Yeah.
That's
so
how
right now the way it sets up is everything gets assigned to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The new permits and everything get assigned to me, and then we have it wide open because we don't know who's going to look at what until we go through the plans and see how detailed they are, or if we need to send it out to contract services.
I understand. I mean, other municipalities have talked about it, and they said there's one downside to that is the fact that, let's say, you go on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, it's a week of everything just back, you know, log jammed, and that's the issue with it.
Right. So that's my question. So right now we have the ability, it's like for anybody can go in there and reassign a complete permit or case to whoever they need to or themselves. Wouldn't they have that same ability or no?
It's not the permit. This is just the review of it. So it's
right.
Just, it's a little different. Yeah, it's a little maybe that I want to think.
I get what you're saying. So we need to have it broken down.
Whoever's actually assigned to I take it back. Whoever's assigned to the permit. So let's say whoever's assigned to the permit right here, they become the review coordinator, so that they're in charge of this whole entire thing. So they can change out who the reviewers are. They can do that.
Okay.
And that's how it's
so that's how it's set up now, where they assign to that you just said right there. Everything gets assigned to me. And then other techs, though, have the ability to edit and go in. Let's say that I'm not there that day. So they can go in and change it to, we have them trained to change it to their name so that they can go in and assign the case workflows to the people that need to have it assigned to. So is that the same kind of method?
Yes, that is the exact same type of method.
Okay, so let's. I might break it down further for the reviews, but for right now, let's just leave it like that.
Okay, that's fine.
Merritt, what are you going to do with yours?
Yeah, if you do all the assign to, you can default it to me.
So all fire goes to Merritt, and all building goes to Anne Marie. I can do that.
Yeah.
Now it's got to make sure planning can figure out who they want to put everyone towards.
Right, and then I'll give you a list of all the reviewers who we will need to select for those specific reviews.
That would be extremely helpful too. Yeah, and making sure they have user access and make sure they're assigned to the correct departments is key for
right.
that.
Right. Okay. But again, I think it'd be helpful if I'm at work doing that, because I can just go to desktop and pretty much steal from there, everybody.
Okay. No, that's fine. We can set that up for next week, next Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. Perfect.
Is that when everyone's planning to be back in the office?
Well, I don't know. We rotate in and out, but if I know I have to be in there, then I'll let my building official know that I need to be in there on a specific date, and then he can rotate me in.
Okay. Not
Jason,
a problem.
do you want the list of the fire prevention staff email? Do you want me to send that to you today?
Yes. I mean, does all fire prevention staff, they all work for all fire reviews? I just want to make sure about that.
Yes.
So, okay. So everyone's just underneath the fire department. Okay.
Correct.
That's fine. I just want to make sure, because the four item reviews I have for fire consultant, fire staff.
Okay. I didn't see that.
Fire hazmat. So I don't know why fire consultants there. I think it's just in case, let's say there's no one available for fire staff, you can put that for fire consultant.
Right, and we do have one consultant.
So you have one. So Jason, in that situation, we have like 6 consultants. Would we be able to list each consultant, individually?
You can list each consultant individually, but this is the problem with that, and I want to make sure we have enough people, is the fact that I don't know how many users are allowed for your contract.
Oh, so they'll never use it. Let me just, so the reason I'd like the to have the consultants listed is so when we look at the review, immediately we know, let's say this is with Orion Structural Engineers, okay? They'll never use EnerGov ever, because we'll go in and update it and we will put in the reviews and all of that. But I want to know immediately which of my consultants has it just by looking. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I got you.
That's how we have it now. They're kind of like dummy logons. They have no rights. They're just their names. Their names are just occupying space in EnerGov right now. But this way, when we look at the case workflow, we can immediately see, oh yeah, that's with this consultant. Oh yeah, that's with that consultant.
Okay. Let me get with someone to make sure we can greenlight that, and I'll make sure to add those things in there and try to get dummy things in there. I just want to make sure we can.
Yeah. Because they'll, like I said, they'll never use it. Our techs will be the ones logged on, going in and updating their reviews and adding their comments. I just want to make sure we can at least identify them quickly without having to do clicks to see who it actually is given to.
That's fine. But,
so the other thing I noticed we haven't reviewed, just real quick, and maybe we can talk about this tomorrow. You can show me tomorrow. Currently on desktop, we have a tab called Activities, and we have a bunch of activities in there that we use.
I was going to ask that.
What activities do you use? Because I'm going to go your permit type right now and add a couple.
So we have like return to applicant activity, and then we identify who we return the plans to. We have notified ready with corrections, notified ready to issue. We have a bunch.
Okay. Can you email me a list of all the ones? I mean, I know not all of them, but like at least some of them, so I can add some of those in there and add them to all the permit types. And then later on, you can go through and just make sure. But I just want to get a running list and make sure. And so, I mean, I'll put in there, email, in-person meeting, mailing, other activity, and then phone call. And then that way, it has. In each activity, there'll be a availability to add in there, saying, what exactly happened. So if you go to the activities right here, you can just hit add activity, choose your activity type, and then you can write comments. And if you really wanted custom fields, I can add custom fields in.
So for the phone call one that you just showed us, could it be like notified, like phone call, and then have it be like notified without having to type it in, notified ready with corrections, or notified ready to issued?
Notified ready for corrections? Okay.
Yeah, like notified ready with corrections and notified ready to issue. Would we be able to just select one of those and then your phone call, or does it have to be broken down further?
It doesn't have. I mean, we can break that down like you're saying. Permit activities. Okay. So you just want, what's it say? Phone call, right?
Or even just notified ready with corrections. That doesn't even need to say phone call. I thought maybe we could just use phone call as the basis and then. Yeah.
I can add this one in here right now.
Okay, cool. And then all we want is the ability to edit, put the date, and let them who we gave it back to in the comments.
So the date automatically gets
or who we notified. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Is that okay? Is
that
okay?
That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
And Jason, we use the same activities. So
okay.
Do I just tell you now, or I mean we use the same drop down menu in the plan case?
That's fine. If you want to send me that over, I can add them all in there, and then I can add them to all your fire permits and in that non-specific fire code plan, and the same for all the building stuff.
Okay, so do you want to come up with a list, Anne, so we can just send Jason and just have all of them in there?
Well, Mary, I was thinking maybe you could screenshot the drop down for the activities.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
But I think there's some activities in there that maybe will be obsolete. I don't know. We should really think about that. So yeah. You think we should clean it up first?
I think so. I think we should clean it up.
Okay. All right. So Jason, we'll clean up what we have and then let you know what we need. And then there's only one activity in ours that we don't want duplicated, and that's plan location. So
plan location?
Yeah, like the ability to duplicate that one item.
Okay.
Okay.
But everything else, so all right, I can do that. And then it's just going to appear like this, and you'll have the activity name, activity number, the activity type, and comments. You can add anything in there, but only thing needed is the activity type, and so it'll just say created on, and then what user added it, and that's what will show up.
That's great.
And then if you add, you can add more by hitting add activity and just a scrolling list of different ones.
Okay, I don't think I have anything else. Do you, Merritt?
No, I have my notes here to do the list, and I'll do the screenshots right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. Thank you.
Okay, so then, Merritt, maybe you and I can go over those activities before I have you send that to Jason.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Can I take a moment to ask this group some questions? This is a pretty select group here. And tomorrow, by the way, is more of basically the same group, right? Morning building and safety and afternoon fire department. Was there anything in the hour that I was gone? Sorry, half an hour turned into almost an hour. In that time, was there anything that important that I missed that I need to do?
No, I think we assigned homework to ourselves, not you, Kurt. So I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah, homework was assigned.
That's good, right?
Please let me know if any of those things require my help. I have a question for this group, and actually for Jason, but I think the others might be interested to hear. Jason, how you with the world changing the way it is, and with the system that we've got, how close are we to having, let's say all of our business processes were in place? I mean, how close are we to having a fully functioning system? I mean, never mind all the work we got to do. I mean, by April, do we have all the pieces? Are we missing anything in our EnerGov enterprise that will keep us from being a functional digital city?
And that has to do with the CSS, making sure all the custom fields get copied over into online custom fields.
All right.
And then after that, I want to make this little caveat, making sure you have required. So let's say if you're applying for, as an example, a PEM combo OTC permit, what documentation would I need to apply for that?
It would just depend on what you're applying for. So, I mean, there could be multiple documentation types you need, or just, for instance, for a water heater, you would only need like Title 24 documentation, the completed application, and then pay your fees.
Okay.
But for, let's say, an electronic photovoltaic system, we need a set of plans. You need your application. You need a checklist. You need your Title 24. I mean, so it could vary.
And that's what I was getting at, was what documentation you would need, because would you need to sign anything? Would you need like a signed notary saying like, you agree that, this is me, stating, that I'm not trying to do anything malicious, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So that's needed.
Yeah, we would need like some type of DocuSign set up so that we could accept electronic signatures and payments and stuff online. Everything we currently don't have.
So we have the DocuSign ability within our CSS, where you can either freehand sign it or you have to type in your name in twice to agree, and it visually signs that like you're agreeing to everything you're sending in is valid and true, and you're not lying. And you can write whatever notary information is needed, not notary, but any disclaimer that's needed there, like a DocuSign information. The question is, would your state, accept it as, valid? That's where it all comes down to, does the county accept it? Does the city accept it? And if it does, then we can go ahead with that stuff. But all that needs to be taken care of. And then e-reviews would need taken care of.
Right. And I think that we're currently, our city attorney is researching DocuSign, so I don't know where that is right now. And I know we'd have to be fully set up to accept electronic submittals.
Mm-hmm. So, Kurt, when you're saying on a percentage scale of where we are for your city to go ahead, I would say we're right around 60%. But that crucial 40 is very crucial, though.
So what is that? Does that crucial 40 include like electronic document review and digital signatures? And various configuration?
Yes.
All right. So with the technology piece, the various configuration. So we've got that. We just have to twiddle it all and make it just right. But in terms of if we're going to plug in more stuff, that's Bluebeam and some sort of signature capability,
as well as taking payments online and being able to do that.
Bluebeam, SIG, and payments. Okay. And those are all extra
and Kurt,
pieces. Yeah.
Kurt, I would also kind of factor in too, making sure that we're connected internally that way with business licensing for verification and all of that.
Mm-hmm. That's all the internal connections. Okay. I'm going to try to do a difference analysis and get Tyler to help us figure this out, what we have and what we're missing. Okay. Thank you very much.
So that's for that meeting that's next week, right? Am I correct about that, Kurt? We're still going ahead with that, right?
Which meeting's that?
The
Sorry.
meetings with the shareholders? The meeting with me and Jeff Rich that will be done remotely unless he's coming in town.
Okay. Yes. That's right. That's going to come up for sure. Basically, what you're going to hear the steering committee say is, what's it going to take us? What do we need to do to become a digital city?
Okay.
So yeah, if you can share that with Jeff and keep that in the back of your mind, think about it, then I think you'll be well prepared for the majority of that meeting.
Yeah, I'm sure me and Jeff will talk at some point this week. I'm sure probably by Friday we'll have a chat.
Great. And Anne Marie and Merritt, and I don't know who else is out there. It's just anonymous. But our subject matter experts like you, are going to become key in all of this, because our current business processes, and we're going to need you to help to find a way to make those business processes work in this. So,
I'm sorry, Kurt, you broke up during that last section.
I'm just saying you're really important.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
She just wanted you to repeat that, Kurt.
Yeah. It's really true. We're going to be leaning on you guys, you ladies and others that really know our business processes to help us find ways to make those business processes work in this new EnerGov enterprise environment. So thank you.
I hope so. It's going to be good moving forward. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. With that, I think are we done for the day then?
We're done for the day.
All right. So tomorrow we start at 9 o'clock, not 8:30. Sorry about the mishap this morning. And I'll see you all back in the same room at 9 o'clock, right? So would that be you, Anne Marie? Anyone else from Building and Safety?
Just myself and Merritt again.
Merritt again. Okay.
Just me.
And so now fire is in the afternoon. Does that mean that more Merritt and is Joe going to join?
More
you?
Anne. Yes.
So
and more Anne too.
More Anne.
Same group all day tomorrow, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll order a virtual pizza.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Oh, don't do that. That's not.
Don't do that. You can have it, but the good thing is you can have as much as you want.
Yeah. No calories. They don't count.
No calories.
Hey, Jason, thank you so much. I hope you get some rest this evening, and thank you so much for a long day. We do appreciate it very much.
Yes, Jason. Thank you. I feel like we have accomplished a lot.
No problem, and I feel the same way. And hopefully we can continue the trend and keep moving forward. That's my goal, anyways. Making sure these issues get minimized every day. That's all.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Right.
Okay, guys. Have a good evening.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.